Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. It is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day. Hope that all of you either got to celebrate and enjoy Mother's Day yourself, or you were able to spend time with your mother and celebrate with her. Maybe give a nice gift or a card or something. All right, looks like we are good. Looks like we're live, so awesome. How have you guys been? Justin hasn't thrown any of those discs. That's unfortunate. You gotta get out there and throw discs. You gotta try out the Brave, the Echo, the Soul, the Enigma. That's our poll for the day. And you know what? I'm not sure what I would even vote for. Not even sure what I would vote for myself. Probably, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Probably the Echo. Probably the Echo. Dude, you going for the Soul? All right, yeah. Team Brad let us down. Team Brent let you down. Team Brad came in clutch with a tournament victory. That's right. I'm back. It's been a while. Let's see. I think my last tournament win. I think my last tournament win was December. So it's been a while since I've actually just played really well and won. It's been a while. But I've had a couple of good rounds since then. Mostly, however, I've been kind of struggling since moving to Charlotte with all of the chaos, everything going on, and trying to, I guess, compete in the Charlotte area with new courses that I've just not played as much. And the terrain with my putting style usually stays really close, but Charlotte just kind of makes those rollaways happen. So it felt good to actually have a great tournament, to play really well, to score well, and it's 1,011 rated, so it's nice to get one of my 1,000 rated tournaments uh, in 2025. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, Team Brent. Yes, dude, it meant Team Brent. Yes, Team Brent let all of us down. I actually played with Brent, and it was not his best. It was not Brent's best. He's played a lot better rounds than he played, and he's played better rounds at Wing It recently than he played in the tournament. So, unfortunate for Brent. He had a couple of just unlucky stretches, and then he also just had some putting errors that just really piled on late in the round. So, it was tough to see. I wanted him to take second place. Of course, I still wanted to beat him, but I wanted him to take second place so that I could, cement my superiority at the same time. I wanted him to succeed. Yeah, but it was good. It was nice. Had a good tournament. It was really, really just good to play well. Exo Gang says hi. Hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Appreciate you being here. And happy Mother's Day to you or to your mother. Somebody in your family hopefully is celebrating and able to have a good day with family today. I was able to talk with my mom on the phone. I'm about 11 hours away by car, so not able to spend time together today on Mother's Day. But I will be going back to Michigan for the U.S. Amateurs, the amateur major in Michigan this year in June. So I'll be able to see my parents again. I was able to hang out for a couple weeks in Michigan last month and spend some time with my parents, and I'll be seeing them again soon. So that's going to be nice. Soviet Union says hello from Russia. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us and hanging out. Dude just says, dang, already up to 24 viewers. Yeah, as far as viewers, I'm also very happy that the gaming live stream went very well last week. Very, very happy about it. And so thank you everybody for hopping on and joining for that. It went really well. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm going to plan on Tuesday and then some Fridays as well. I can't do every Friday because sometimes I'll have a tournament Saturday morning or league Friday night. Something like that might be popping up. But my plan is to do gaming streams on every Tuesday and some Fridays. That's my plan. Luke's here. Hey, thanks for hopping on. Andy says, how do you like the Mamba Champion disc? So I've thrown the Mamba, but mine is G-Star. If I can grab it. That's not it, but this will help me reach it. All right. So I have a G-Star Mamba. I very much loved it until I reached a certain speed, a certain arm speed. And then the Mamba became too flippy. So at first it was just fantastic. Then it turned into a roller. And now I would say it's probably too flippy even to be a good roller, because I'll probably lay it down and then it will stand up and curl too quickly. So overall, Mamba is a great disc. In Champion Plastic, I actually think it might be a better disc for me than the G-Star, although I love the feel of the G-Star. Just feels perfect in the hand. But the Champion should have a little more of that stability. So I would say Mamba is a great disc, especially if you're going to throw a distance driver early on, before you've kind of played for a long time. The Mamba is great. And in Champion Plastic, it's a longer lasting disc that can make the bag for the long term. G-Star probably isn't going to last in the bag for the long term. It's going to phase out once you start throwing farther. But Mamba is a great disc, for sure. Steven says, hello. Thanks for hopping on, Steven. Appreciate it. And by the way, Wing It went great. Wing It went great. I won. I went 11 down, 1,010 rated. So finally, I managed to play your favorite Charlotte course really, really well. So I was really happy about that. I also had an eagle putt on 8. And I threw a turnover shot with my soul off the tee on hole 8. And I got it to about 60 feet and hit the cage on my eagle putt. So soul came in clutch at Wing It. I think the soul got me 5 birdies, maybe 4 birdies early on. Todd says Mamba Champ was the first disc that he ever got over 300 feet. Heck yeah. Mamba is a good disc. Rozoa says, yo, what's up? My dude, how you guys doing? Doing well? I just managed to win my first tournament win of 2025. So that was really nice. So I'm doing great. I am doing great. Steven says the Mindbender is the best disc. Yep. Voted Soul, though. Yeah, that makes sense. Do a land shark? Andy Paul says, thank you so much. Let's see. All right, Connor says, can you say happy birthday? Happy birthday. Andy says, I have an Innova Raven still. A Raven? I'm not sure if I've thrown the Innova Raven. Let me see. I've thrown the Vulture, but that's Discraft. Innova Raven, huh? Discontinued originally in 1994. 6.4, -2.2. I mean, I like those flight numbers. Those sound good to me. Still bag the Raven, huh? That's awesome. Or still have it. That's really, really cool. Steven says, hope all is well. I'm doing great. Devin says, I was wondering if I could ever buy some discs from you. So, yes, I can't guarantee you that I'll have a disc that you want. But if you're interested in potentially buying a disc from me, yes, that's definitely on the table. I would just suggest that you DM me on Instagram. That's probably one of the best ways, so that we can actually talk about what disc you might want. If you want it signed or unsigned or totally unmarked or new or used or whatever. So if you're interested in potentially buying a disc from me, I'm definitely open to that. Just let me know. Yeah, just get in contact with me. Rizzo says, congrats on your win, my guy. Thank you so much. It's been a minute. So I was really happy to win. Really happy. Official says, best disc is a 1983 Whammo. I don't know about 83, but I've got the Whammo Ultimate Frisbee, and I tell you what, it does not go as far as 95% of these discs back here. So I played a lot of Ultimate. I love the Ultimate disc, but I can no longer realistically throw it because I've developed and changed my throwing form, to accommodate for disc golf discs. And a disc golf disc is just intended to be a better, faster, further flying Frisbee type disc versus an ultimate frisbee. The difference is pretty crazy. So the Whammo, I mean, they started things, they did a good job, but today we got a lot more progress. Sarah says, please shout me out. I guess shout out Sarah. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Steven says, that's wild, nice job. What's your favorite hole? That's a great question. So my favorite hole to birdie is hole 13 because it's so difficult, that uphill tunnel shot. And it happens to be the only shot that I filmed in the tournament. And I managed to birdie it, and I don't think I ended up keeping the CTP, but I was able to put down the CTP flag about maybe 8 feet away from the basket, which I was pretty happy with. So that's my favorite to birdie. My favorite hole in general, probably 17, because it's just an echo. It's just an easy echo, gentle downhill, straight at the basket. Yeah. Rizzo, now 3 negative games at 4 palms. Heck yeah, dude. That's all right. Keep going at it, 4 palms. Keep those under par rounds coming. Just get out there and get those birdies. Todd says, congrats on the tournament win. Thank you very much. Rizzo said the back one with the Limbo Mando. The Limbo Mando. Let's see. So you're talking about 4 palms, or are you talking about, because I don't think there's a Limbo Mando at Wing It. Tomorrow says, hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Dude says, my house's backyard is on a golf course hill, so I can throw off a good 20 feet downslope. Realize how flippy my destroyer actually is. Yeah, ripping downhill like that, it's just going to turn over. Zertius says, hi, what is the hardest thing to do in the sport you practice? Probably doing a perfect shot from a long distance. What is the hardest thing to do in disc golf? It's a good question. Maybe playing in the wind. Playing in the rain is a really tough one. If it's just pouring rain, your grip just slips. Like I'm used to just kind of gripping, not too firm, but just kind of gripping the rim of the disc. As soon as it rains, I get nothing, no grip. So other than dealing with the rain and the elements like that, I mean, an ace in a tournament is extremely rare, but you're usually not actually trying to ace. You're usually trying to park it. You're trying to land 10, 20 feet short and slide up to the basket. So the ace is pretty rare. I don't know, maybe landing a 90-foot putt. I don't know. Winning is hard. Winning consistently and playing on the Pro Tour is hard. Throwing 500 feet is hard. Bench says, what's going on there, fella? Just hanging out. Happy Mother's Day to all and any mothers, and to anyone who was able to spend time with your mom. I hope it was a good day. I hope you're able to give a gift or a card, or at least talk on the phone, something like that. Devin says, problem is I don't have any of those types of apps, only email or texting. Okay, email is fine as well. So I have a bhirdietime email, and it might not be available. I will type it in for you just so you have it. It's pretty easy. And that will, I think I just sent it, but I'm not sure. And yes, that went through. So that's going to be the email that you can reach out to me for disc golf related things. So that will work just fine. Straight shot is hard. Yes, sometimes it depends on, I think it depends on who you are and what your arm speed is, because I think for some people distance is harder, and for me, I don't throw over 440 feet. I think my max is like 440 that I've ever thrown on flat ground. So for me, 450 plus is just so difficult. Like I just can't comprehend it, can't do it. But I do throw an echo pretty straight. So a 200-foot tunnel shot, not too bad. But I would assume that for someone who can just bomb it, hitting that consistent gap shot might be their weakness. I have a buddy who throws 475 plus. I've seen it on flat ground. Makes me a little bit jealous, and it's just kind of easy for him. But if he goes to throw a tunnel shot 5 times in a row, he'll probably hit it twice. And for me, I feel like normally, depending on how tough the tunnel is, it's a 4 or a 5 out of 5 that I'll have a good to decent shot down a tunnel. So I think it just depends on who it is. Dude, it says, about to sign up for my local Glitch World Championship the 24th. Heck yeah. Glitch World Championship is going to be a lot of fun, and with your arm speed, it's probably going to be you'll have a big advantage on a lot of people because you'll be able to actually throw the glitch probably 300, which is a huge advantage versus people like me who can only throw it like 240, and a bunch of holes are just a little too far to birdie. Joanna says, where are you from? I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, and actually one of the kind of central hubs of disc golf in the United States. Tons of fantastic courses here, so I'm really blessed to be able to play and compete at a high level in one of the best places in the country for disc golf. Dude just says, definitely got those parachute shots dialed. Heck yeah. Steven says, I love that hole. I'm assuming 13, but it could have been 17 as well, because I shout out both of them. Luke says, Luke with the good questions. Luke says, any goals for this year's amateur championship? Don't play as bad as last year. So I wasn't actually able to compete last year. At the last second, I had to drop it, and I couldn't play. So the amateur championship, I have only played a kind of practice doubles round with my older brother who played the last couple of years. So I would say my goal is top 25, and there's going to be well over 100 people competing. So anything in the top 20s is going to be pretty good. I would say I would love an under par round. And if you don't know, the course is the Toboggan course, which is where D-Glow is played. It's a brutal course. It's up and down ski slopes, toboggan slopes, that in the winter people use for sledding. So we're going to be throwing up and down those slopes with discs. So I would say I would like 1 or 2 of my rounds to be under par. And I think if my worst round is +4 or better, I think I'll take top 20, maybe top 15. So that's kind of my hope, is 1 or 2 rounds under par, top 25. Got some other questions. Question, I need recommendations. Most comfortable forehand from playing baseball, but need something that can handle a lot of torque for distance. So if you're really looking for torque for distance, Nuke, maybe even the Nuke OS, that's going to handle torque for distance. If you want a kind of medium distance, a Vulture is pretty good, got a little bit of stability. If you're really ripping them, Firebirds can be good. Wraith can be good. These are all discs that have they're overstable. So they're going to have positive turn numbers instead of negative, or they're going to be 0 turn and then positive, or like multiple fade numbers, 2 or 3 for the fade. Let's see, I said Firebird, Raptor or Captain's Raptor. If you really need it to be overstable, Captain's Raptor. Let's see. Other good overstable, stable. Venom is going to be good. That's what Anthony Barella uses for a ton of his forehands. Yeah, so look at any discs. If you want to look up like Flight Matrix, you can look up any discs that are going to have a 0 or 1 for the turn and a 2 or 3 for the fade, or 4 for the fade. And anything falling into that category that's at least an 8 speed is probably going to be a solid disc to give you some good distance. And a lot of those are going to have torque resistance. What's it called? Here, I can just do this. Calvin Heimberg Destroyer, Splice, Venom. What is this, a Proton? Photon? What is this? Photon, MVP. This is another Firebird. The Vela. This doesn't really belong there. It's a Respecty. The Orc is pretty overstable. The Pioneer, Quasar, the Anthem. And now, gotta fit those back. The Boss is a pretty overstable. The Emperor is pretty overstable. So those are a few recommendations that handle a lot of torque for forehand distance. Inappropriate Laughter says, is disc golf a sport? If so, is bowling a sport? I would absolutely say that disc golf is a sport, and I would count bowling as a sport because it's a physical activity where you're competing with others. I played 15 years of soccer, and I will tell you that while soccer is a little more intense because you're always running, walking 6 miles while carrying a 45-pound backpack and throwing distance shots is exhausting. And I played 11 rounds of disc golf this last week, and I'm wiped out. So, yes, I would say it's absolutely a sport. It fits the definition of a sport, the dictionary definition of a sport. And yes, Chase would be the one to ask about bowling. Dude says Destroyer, really anything over 2 fade, no turn. Yes, good. Kay says, I've used it, but still have too much torque. And ball is around 95, 96 miles per hour. So I need something a tad full of people can handle torque. Can only throw distance of 300 max. So I think you're definitely going to be able to find something in what I've listed with the nuke and venom and things like that they're going to handle. They're going to drift a little bit on you, not just dump, but you're going to be able to get some bombs out of those. Emperor in a flippy plastic. Good. Splash Bros says, you're my goat at disc golf. Thank you. Appreciate it. Langston says, okay. Dude, it says, the only divisions in the glitch tournament are MPO and FPO, so aiming for top 5. That's probably realistic, because there's going to be a handful of people who are just going to be next level. But yeah, top 5, that's great. I hope you get it. I hope you take 3rd place or better. Dude says, distance isn't as big of an advantage because we're playing a shorter technical parcours. Okay, that's good to know. Still, I'm sure there's a few shots where easily throwing 250 is going to help out versus someone who can barely throw at 250, let alone shot shaping it. But I understand what you're saying. Elijah Coleman says, hi. Hey, thanks for hopping on and joining us, Elijah. Steven says, the toboggan looks like a nightmare for the average player. I threw it as an average player, and maybe even a slightly above average back then. It was a nightmare. The rough is rough. Thorns, vines, brush, that's just like unbelievable. So you throw, I'll put it this way. I was spotting for my brother and a couple people who were practicing, and I watched the disc go 5 feet into the rough. And we all looked, I watched it happen, noted where it was. 6 of us looked for 10 minutes and we couldn't find it. It just vanished because the rough is just really rough. So landing in the fairway is a must. You can't just lose discs and re-tee. It's going to be a nightmare, especially if it's a disc that you need. So, man, it's a brutal course. It's a brutal course. Dude just says, no idea how the pros can get it up that big hill on hole 3. Yeah, it's all about the placement shot. You have to have good footing for throw 2. But even so, getting over the hill is not something I expect to be able to do. I think out of 3 rounds, I think I hope to see the band 1 time, and I don't think I can. It's insane. It's insane. So hole 2, I do not expect to get a birdie. Do not expect the birdie. Titus Holloway says, how far can you throw backhand forehand? So my forehand is terrible. I would say, well, here's the thing. I once threw a 400-foot forehand with an insanity, but it hurt, and I can't throw like that. I don't throw like that. But reasonably about 270 forehand is good forehand for me. Backhand, I've thrown 440, but it's not a like instant, I'm just going to throw 440. So normally when I throw the Wild Honey, which is my best distance disc right now, it's been consistently 390 on a slight uphill. So that's kind of my 400-ish thrower. Otherwise, yeah, forehand is not great. Forehand needs work. This about frisbees, as May says. These are disc golf discs, but yes, same concept. So the ultimate frisbee, I played ultimate in college, had a good time with it, is very different than disc golf discs, which are designed to fly further, faster than a frisbee is. And using disc golf discs, you can play disc golf on a disc golf course with 18 baskets. You play for par or birdie or bogey. Very similar rules to golf. Dude says, yeah, Steven, when I watched Joe Miss a year ago, I was blown away. And I've hiked up that hill in person and I'm blown away. It is monstrous. Monstrous. Titus says, also, it's me, Titus, from Eagles Wings thing in January. We were on a team for trivia night. Awesome. Hey, that was awesome. We tried our best in trivia and we did not do great. But really appreciate you reminding me. That's really awesome. Yeah, we at the Eagles Wings, it was a fantastic weekend. But a weak point of mine is disc golf trivia. Let me put it this way. Trivia involving disc golf's history. Very, very much a weak point for me. I've only been watching and playing for 3-ish years, 3.5 years. So I couldn't tell you, other than Paul Macbeth and Ricky, I couldn't tell you very many world champion winners, um, FPO from 5 years to 20 years ago. I've got nothing. Masters winners, I know almost nothing. So we got wrecked. We got destroyed. But that was really fun. It was a good time. Case Money says, "Who makes Emperor, boss man? Will it be Wild Enough? I love the mint goat. By far my go-to so far." I could not read that. Innova Emperor. And if you've got it, get yourself a Garrett Gurthie Emperor. Do I still have? I think I have one still. I have mine signed by Garrett Gurthie, but he's got a couple runs of Emperors, and they are pretty sweet. Also, Garrett's just a really nice guy. Okay, just looking at my own discs. SM says, "What's up, dude? Hope all is well." All is good. I was able to chat with my mom a little bit today. Wish her happy Mother's Day. And I won my tournament over the weekend. So everything for me, everything's great. Dude says, "Infinite discs." Is it infinite instead of Innova? It is infinite. That's what I had said. That's what I said. Thanks, Dude, for correcting me in the past, because that was a couple minutes ago. Payne says, "Can I have a shout out?" What's up, Payne? Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Case Money says, "Nuko S had an issue with keeping my hand flat. Don't know why. Just need to work on it more." Stevie says, "What is disc golf about?" I kind of answered that a minute ago, so you should have heard that. Esme says, "Disc golf the one where you throw into the thing with chains?" That is correct. That is correct. Throwing plastic plates in the woods. SM says, "Have you tried a Casoplast Rask? Love that disc for forehands. I've only thrown a handful of Casoplast. I love how the plastic feels, but I really just haven't thrown anything in the bag other than the Berg. So I haven't tried it, but I imagine that it's really good." Stevie says, "Woods?" ? So we play disc golf in the woods, yes. Assassin says, "You Jewish or Christian?" I am a Christian. Actually went to Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids to get my degree in youth ministry and biblical studies. And I grew up in a Baptist church. I wouldn't say that I am a Baptist, but that's kind of my background. So I spent a few years as a youth pastor when I was up in Michigan. And since then, I have moved to Florida for a while and now to North Carolina, where I've been playing disc golf and building up the YouTube channel. But I actually really enjoyed church this morning, and we have a small group that I attend a small group, and we've been studying apologetics, which is really, really enjoyable for me. Loopy says, I don't know if I can read this. I don't know. Dude says, "You just got a text that somebody found my soul. Got to go pick that up." Heck yeah, that's really, really good. It sucks to lose a disc so much. And when you get that text, it's like, "Hey, I found your disc." It's like, oh, thank goodness. Because when you throw a disc and it flies right for you, it has more value than just a replacement that you can buy. You want that specific disc because you know how it flies. It just sucks to lose a disc. Devin says, "How do you decide if you're bad at throwing or if you're throwing the wrong disc? Cannot throw stable discs well." So it depends on how far you tend to throw. So let's see. If you're throwing an understable 7 or 8 speed disc 350 feet, but you can't throw overstable, then you need to work on your form for throwing stable discs. If you can throw a flippy disc 200 feet, but that's it, then it's probably your form in general that you're gonna have to work on. Because if you're, let me rephrase. So if you're new to the sport, that's just normal. If you've been playing for a while and you're struggling to push past 200 feet, something fundamental in your form needs to change to get that distance. If you're throwing flippy discs well and 300-ish feet, but it's just something that stable discs have an issue for you, it could be that you're throwing with a lot of hyzer like I do, and a hyzer will let a flippy disc flip up and fly, but an overstable disc will just dump out. Maybe it's your grip. It's hard to say. It's hard to say without, seeing the way that you throw. You could also try throwing with some anhyzer. Zedit says, tell me a car for edit, please. Lamborghini. Junaid Khan says, you know Chris Evans. I know who Chris Evans is. I do not know him personally. I do not know him personally. No. Apollo says, India and Pakistan. I didn't know they were playing this weekend. Esme says, you ever needed a plate when you were out and had a disc, so you just ate off of that? I have gotten fast food where I have like the bag or like a tinfoil wrap, and I have put it on top of a disc, but I have not eaten food off of a disc directly. There's always been a layer of something in between the disc and my food. I've never just eaten out of, not like April and Andy in Parks and Rec, just ate out of frisbees. I have not done that. Have not done that. I have used a disc as a coaster though for like a coffee mug as well. Satan says, hello, I'm a new person in your stream. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you being here and joining us and saying hi. Junaid says, you know Tony Stark. I have seen the Iron Man movies and the Avengers, etc. So yes, I am aware of Tony Stark. Apollo says, you are a Queen Powerpuff Princess. Which one of the Powerpuff Girls? I haven't watched in many, many years, but my sister and I watched a couple of episodes. I don't know if it was Nickelodeon or what, but that takes me way back, 25 years ago, almost. Mr. Cuckoo Head says, what is your furthest throw flat ground, no wind? Furthest throw flat ground, no wind was with the Wild Honey about a month ago, and it was 440. And it was just my best throw so far. My distance limit had been around 405 feet. And then I was playing with a guy, Eddie, who I just met up with in Michigan. And he said, hey, have you ever thrown the Wild Honey? I said, no. He hands it to me. He says, just throw it. See how far you can throw it. And it goes the furthest I've ever thrown a disc. And it skips at the end, hits a picking table, and it stops it from going another 10 feet or so. So I don't actually know exactly how far it would have gone, but it was by far just my best throw ever. So he immediately gave me the disc, which I'm so grateful for. And it's been really awesome. It's been in the bag for a couple of weeks now, and it's gotten me some easier birdies on a couple of holes locally in Charlotte that previously I would kind of underthrow a little bit and have more of an uphill to kind of see the basket. The Wild Honey has gotten me up that hill further. So it's been really, really great to have that disc in the bag. So that's my best 440. Downhill, I've thrown over 500 and almost hit my own car in the parking lot because it was an accident. Rock says, what's behind you? These are all disc golf discs. So let me grab one at random here if I can get my finger in that. So this one is a Zenith. Zenith, yes. This is James Conrad here on the Zenith. So these disc golf discs are what we use to play the sport of disc golf. You throw, you try to make it as close as you can to the basket, or at least close enough to try to make a putt. And what I use for my putter is the Warden. So you can see how this driver is designed for distance and speed to cut through the air, and this putter is designed more for accuracy. You want it to leave your hand and go exactly where you want it to go within a shorter distance. Sometimes you will throw putters, but what I'm talking about for putting is you're probably within like 60, 50, 40 feet, and you're trying to make it into the basket. Just like the rules of golf, you want to make it into the basket in as few throws as possible. So these are all disc golf discs. Hoopster says, what do you think about Scott Stokely bringing disc golf to disabled people? I haven't actually seen any of the details about that. I've seen there's actually a couple cool Instagram accounts. There's a guy who plays in his wheelchair and like locks the wheels and throws. And I've seen him get a lot of birdies. It's pretty awesome. And I've seen a guy who doesn't have any either of his arms, throwing with his feet. So I've seen some pretty incredible things. People who are dedicated and willing to go above and beyond to play disc golf despite their limitations. So without knowing the context of what Scott Stokely is doing, I like the idea of it. I have no idea how he's going about it, so I can't speak to any of the specifics. But as far as that being an element of disc golf, I think that's great. It's an activity that is more accessible than most sports because you don't have to have another person to compete against. You can just compete. You can play disc golf by yourself or with people if you want to. Either way, you're able to appreciate and experience the full experience of playing a round of disc golf. And it doesn't really matter how long it takes you to play or how many throws it takes you to play. You'll be able to finish. Um, Maybe some people would never be able to throw a basketball up into a hoop, but almost anyone in the world can drop a disc into a basket and throw it a few feet in front of them. So disc golf is a very accessible sport, and most courses are pretty accessible as well. Not everything, but most courses are. Justin says, "Hello, how long are you going to be live?" I would say 9 is probably a good target for 2 more hours. So 2.5 hours total is kind of what I'm feeling today, but I always go a little bit longer. But I am pretty wiped out. Played a lot of disc golf last week, so it might not be as long. Justin says, "Birdie hit 438 in the field today. Heck yeah, that's awesome." So that is essentially the furthest that I have ever thrown. So nice, that's awesome. Michael says, "Of course you don't know. I don't know what that is in reference to, so I really don't know." Mr. Cuckoohead says, "I've been wanting a wild honey, not gonna lie." It's funny because I hadn't really heard of it specifically. Like I heard of Clash discs, but I was not familiar with the wild honey. So I threw it and I loved it. I also just have this disc in my hand, just sitting in my hand. Justin played a round of disc golf today and shot -17. Insane round. That's unbelievable. Dang, that's crazy. Mr. Cuckoohead says, "What is your PDGA rating?" So I do think that it is, now I forget. Is it 958 or 964? I'm not sure. It is close to 960, like Justin says. I was rated 968 about 4 months ago, and I know that I dropped a little bit since then. I was at 964, and I think I dropped to 958. But I just played a 1,011 rated round, so I'm anticipating jumping right back up to that 960 mark. Daniel says, "Do you think they'll ever make a movie about frisbee golf?" So that's a great question. I think it's going to be at least another 10 years before something like that. I do think that it's possible. I think they're going to make documentary / movies about Paul Macbeth for sure. I think that's going to be kind of the start. Is they're going to look at the greats in history. They're going to talk about Ken Climo a lot, but they're going to talk about the modern greatest Paul Macbeth. And I think from there, it's going to grow a little bit as a kind of known phenomenon across the United States. It's still very like people just don't know what disc golf is. So I think 10 to 15 years from now, it will be broadly known and broadly understood to a greater extent to where it would be possible that some form of a movie could be made about it. I mean, let's be real. In the United States, they made Invictus, which is a South African rugby movie. And yeah, they got Matt Damon on it, but we don't know what rugby is. Not really. Understanding it better in the last like 20 years since the movie came out. So I think that's going to be part of it. It just needs to be more widely known. I just saw a terrible technical glitch on my end, so I hope that you guys didn't see that. I hope that was just my laptop. Crypt says, "Ugly." Justin says, "Michael is talking about you don't know exactly your distance, your highest distance." Oh, so forehand? I don't know. I've never measured other than that 400-foot forehand that hurt my arm. I've never like tried distance for forehand, but for flat ground, it's 440 for the backhand. Mr. Cuckoohead, what was your first PDGA rating round and how long into playing? My first PDGA rated round was a 2-round tournament in Live Oak, Florida, at a pretty easy course that I did not find super easy at the time because I was bad. And I played an MA3. Yeah, I think I played an MA3 because they didn't have MA4. And I think I got rated 858 for my first tournament. And then I played another tournament, dropped to 849, and then played a few tournaments, won an MA4, and jumped up to like 860 and never went back below 850 after that. But that was about 3.5 years ago, maybe 3 years, 3 months ago. I think it was February or March. It was in Florida, so it was early in the year, 3 years ago. So yeah, that was the kind of the beginning of the end. I've been playing ever since, and just tons of disc golf. I played 11 rounds of disc golf last week, and every single one of those rounds, I threw extra throws, extra tee shots, ace runs, etc. Except for the tournament round, I didn't do any extra shots for that, but I did warm up for that. So I did throw field shots to get prepped. So yeah, I play a lot of disc golf. I film a lot. I compete as much as I can. So yes, been into it for about 3.5 years, playing competitively, very much enjoying it. I was blessed to be able to play in Florida for several years, basically year round. And now that I have moved to Charlotte, it's just a little bit more kind of irritating to play through the winter, but now it's beautiful outside. So the summer is going to be fantastic. Fall is going to be beautiful. I'm just so grateful, so blessed. Dude says, Dude live from the course, picked up the soul and tried it and decided to play a round. Heck yeah. Kavechi says, I play Ultimate Frisbee. I love Ultimate Frisbee. Still have one of my Ultimate Frisbees. I played on the club team at my college. I wasn't great, but I was decent, and loved intramurals. But then I started playing disc golf, and the Frisbee and disc are pretty differently designed. Discs are designed to fly further and faster than the Frisbee. And at first, I did not like disc golf because I could throw a Frisbee, but when I threw a disc, it would just go left. Everything was overstable for me, just left, left, left. And then my brother taught me how to grip a disc and throw it with better form. And my disc went to the right, and then it went left at the end, and it went so far, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And ever since, I've been really just loving disc golf. I still love Frisbee, but I don't play it. Steven says they absolutely have to make a movie called The Holy Shot. That would be super awesome. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If they're going to begin making true like disc golf movies and documentary type things, the Holy Shot's going to be included in that. Absolutely. It's going to be part of the disc golf story forever. And anything that talks about the origins of disc golf, its growth, it's going to hit the Holy Shot, COVID, Joe Mez, YouTube, the COVID boom. It's all going to be part of the story. So it's always going to be part of it. Kvechi says, I'm in Israel. Wald says, greetings. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Greetings to you as well. Justin says, what was your opinion on the foot fault in FPO, Chris and Tatar? So, here is my opinion on the foot fault for Chris and Tatar. I don't think that it was the right call to make live, because when you make a call, according to PDJ rules, you need to make a call when it is a clear violation of the rules. And a clear violation of the rules means that you are 100% sure that a rule was just broken. There's no guesswork involved in calling someone for a clear violation. And I believe that the marshal said it looked like a foot fault, so I called it. That's not good enough. You can't do that. You can't say, oh, it looked like you were 1.5 feet behind your lie. You know somebody was more than 11.8 inches behind their lie. And if it looked like they were 12.5 inches behind their lie, that's not a good enough reason to say you faulted. You deserve to be penalized. If somebody makes a putt and step putts, and you think it was 20, or you think that it was 32.5 feet instead of 32.8 feet, that's not a good enough reason to penalize them. You have to know that it was a penalty. So the problem was when she planted her foot and threw, the disc is in her hand and her foot is moving, and as it bumps the lie, the disc is leaving her hand. It's a split-second thing. So I don't think that it was right for the marshal to call that live. That's my opinion. It is a rule that you should only call clear violations. So that's what I think. Also, it's an issue because the marshals are not calling everything for everyone all tournament. So why is it that in only a certain circumstance does somebody come in and nitpick a couple of calls when that's just an uneven application of the rules? I don't like that either. Dude says, I think they made a documentary on it. I think that maybe Jomez or the DGPT made a documentary, but let's be real, it's gonna be next level when actual movie producers get their hands on something for disc golf. It's gonna be next level. Bones J put up a trophy. I appreciate that. If that's about my tournament win, appreciate that. Justin says, what is your opinion on the shot James Conrad made to win Worlds? It was amazing. It was incredible. It was shocking. It was awesome. I mean, my opinion was that it was really amazing to see. I wish that I had been watching live disc golf at the time, but I saw it I think I saw it like a day later, and then watched the whole tournament Worlds a couple of months later. Yeah, it was incredible, and it was what he needed to do. So you know that he was trying to do it, which makes it so much cooler. It wasn't just an accident. He intended to make that throw in. So wild, just wild. Kavechi says, I'm the Israeli national team of Ultimate Frisbee. Cool. That's awesome. I hope that you guys play really well. Steven says, and when they make the holy shot, the actor throwing the shot has to throw that exact shot and shot the same with someone shouting, get in the hole. That would be very cool. They really have to replicate it. I mean, the good thing is we have it on film, so they'll be able to either splice or like when you have a sports movie and then at the end you have real footage put in, like we'll be able to see the real footage, which is just going to make it cooler because it's going to compare the expressive artistic nature of the film showing it in slow-mo and angles and stuff like that, and then it's going to show how it really happened. It's just going to be like, dang, like this actually happened and people saw it live, and how incredible was that. Gavin says, I'm just going to sub to everyone I see. All right. Kavechi said, hi. Justin says, can you show a die disc or your favorite die disc? Yes, I can. So let's see. Favorite die disc. I don't have that many die discs. However, this is one of the die discs I really like because it's been in the bag quite a bit. It's an Echo. So this was Moontree Dies, Mike Kubzak, who dyed this for me. And I have aced with it. And it's a great blue, so I really like it. But I just kind of take it in and out of the bag because I have two other Echoes that are in the bag right now. So it's kind of like, out of the three, I kind of shuffle them around a little bit. So this is one of the die discs that I really like. Another one is this Soul that Blaze gave me. Blaze visited me this week, and we hung out, played 11 rounds of disc golf, including a tournament, threw tons of ace runs, and he gave me this Soul, and it's just a nice gentle die, a very gentle die. And then where is it? Just straight up one of the coolest discs that I have is this Buzz, this Legend of Zelda dyed and designed Buzz with Link and the Hylian Shield and the Master Sword. Super cool. Just one of my favorites. Absolutely love it. And so this one is up there as well. Definitely the top of the list for die discs. I don't have a ton of die discs, like I said. Unfortunately, I don't have any like cell dies to really show those off, or any of the stencil dies. But yeah, I have a couple of cool ones. Laverance said, hi. Hello. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Appreciate you being here. All right, let's take a look at the poll. Up to 47 votes, which is solid. And interesting, we have 36 votes for the Brave, and 36 votes. 36% of the votes went to the Brave, 13% to the Echo, 26 to the Soul, and 26 to the Enigma. Very, very interesting. Maybe I should have listed the flight numbers on those just to give more context. Swing and a miss. Brent says, wow, clickbait. But let's see. Let me read my title really quick. Disc Golf Livestream, not clickbait. I won a tournament and beat Team Brent, not clickbait. Mother's Day, not clickbait. Giveaway soon, also not clickbait. And of course, soup. I should do a shout out real quick. Upcoming disc giveaway to celebrate me reaching full monetization status, being able to actually fully like earn money from my YouTube channel, which is really, really great. I'll be giving away this Raider. So that's coming soon. I'm going to drop a video this week, and basically you'll just have to be subscribed to me and leave a comment on that video, and you will automatically have a chance, a random chance to win this Raider. I plan to do the giveaway next Sunday night in my next live stream. So that's going to be the plan. This Raider is the disc that I will be giving away soon. Almost forgot. Brent says, this guy couldn't beat me. These discs all stink. Brent would say Shrike, though. He would say Shrike if I put it on there. AB says, hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining us, AB or AVB or whatever. AB Disc Golf. Appreciate you joining on. And yeah, so I will be giving away that Raider pretty soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that disc that video when I'm able to drop it this week. Coming soon. So yeah, let's see. Brent, now that I have you, how did you feel about your tournament? Brent didn't play his best. We'll put it that way. He got a little bit unlucky several times, and then he totally forgot how to putt halfway through the tournament and did not remember until the tournament was completely done. So that was a bummer. I was hoping that we would be podium together. Of course, I was going to win, and then he was going to take second place, but that didn't happen. Brent had a rough round, but I won. That's the important thing. So for all of you, for Doc, who's been saying hashtag Team Brent on all of my videos, sorry. This time, it was Brad. Brent says 4 holes, the last 4 holes. Yeah, Brent was in a position to have a good tournament, and then the last 4 holes happened. But you did miss a putt halfway through the round. You missed hole 5 as well. So Justin says, I love the Raider. And Rip Shrike, way too understable. Yeah, well, I'll put it this way. I'll say this. Jessica Weiss dropped a new Shrike, and it's a stable Shrike, and it's nice. It's really, really nice. I don't turn it over at all, so I imagine that it would fly really well for you. So it can handle a little bit more speed, a little bit more torque, but it's really, really nice. I don't remember the precise plastic that it's made of, but it looks really cool. So give that a look. That new Shrike that Jessica Weiss has that just came out. But a Star Shrike is going to be way too understable for you. It's not for me. For me, it's fine. Brent says 4 holes. The last 4 holes, my brain just went. Brent also famous for needing more sleep. Ols said hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining. Yes, Justin says, can I get mod? Yes, welcome to being a mod. Also, I totally forgot, but AB needs to be mod as well. Awesome. So let's see. I played 11 rounds of disc golf this week. Really, really great. It was a lot of fun. I played 3 of those rounds at Wing It, including the tournament round. I played 2 of those rounds at Scrapyard, and threw a lot of ace runs. Played 2 of those rounds at Kilbourne, once from the shorts, once from the longs. Hornet's Nest, and Nevin, and Dry Creek. And I think, and I played, did I play Renski? Was that this last week that I played Renski? Or Eastway? I think I played Eastway this last week. Yeah, I think I played Eastway. So anyway, through, oh gosh, both Justins are mods. We're going to have to figure that out. But yeah, so I played a bunch of rounds, got to play just all across Charlotte. It was really, really great. I got 2 aces last Tuesday. They were not the first throws, so they were not real aces. But one of them, I picked up my red Echo, and I was like, no, I don't think this is the disc. So I switched to, I don't know, my FD1 or my Taco or something. I switched discs, threw it, wasn't really happy with it, threw another shot, wasn't thrilled with it, picked up the Echo again, and aced it. 280 feet around a corner, blind, just all air, all chains. It was really, really, really awesome. So I was really, really happy with that. And then later that day, we went to Scrapyard across the water on hole 8. This one I put on my channel because I filmed it. And I threw like 35 shots until I finally got the ace. It was a lot of fun. And it's been a while since I got 2 aces in one day. And the last time I did, I think the hole was like 180 feet. And this time, the holes were 270 and like 190. So they were actually like decently kind of further on average. Justin says, have a Halo Shrike signed by Garrett Gerthy. That's awesome. Dude just says, I think Doc should get mod next, to be honest. If Doc was here, he could ask for mod, but where is he? Doc isn't even here. Sad, sad, sad. Doc probably deserves mod, but we'll see. We'll see. Justin says, I'm bad at spelling, LOL. No problem. Luke says, Doc haps too much. Justin says, now what are you going to call me? We are both mods. That's a great question. So thankfully you do have different profile pictures. So I'm able to tell who's who because one Justin has just the J for the profile picture. But yes, that is a really, 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 really good question. Yeah, Luke meant to say that Doc yaps too much. That's what he intended to say. Doc's gonna just like pop into chat all of a sudden while we're talking about him, and he's gonna be really upset. But where is he? He hasn't been here all night. It's like been an hour. So what's wrong? What's wrong with him? Alice says, what's up? Have you played the Disc Golf Masters playtest yet? It's quite good. I have not had any time. I had a buddy visiting from Florida all week. So we played 11 rounds of disc golf last week, including a tournament. So from Tuesday at 12:30 to literally till 2 a.m. last night, I was just like busy, period. Just completely busy. Blaze headed out early this morning, and then I went to church this morning, and I haven't been out, haven't been like very free. So I haven't had any real time to try out the Disc Golf Masters playtest yet. But I did request access, and I think I got in, so I should be able to play that soon. But yeah, I'm hoping to maybe stream that, but I'm not certain if that's going to function well on the laptop while I stream from the laptop. So it's my plan to give that a test and see how that's going to handle it. But I am pretty interested. Justin says, call me the better disc golfer. Good disc golf, Justin. I do need a better differentiation for you guys. Dude says he's probably working. It's possible. Professional Justin. There you go. Professional Justin. Moisty says, wow, that's a lot of dinner plates. So these are disc golf discs. You could eat off of them if you really wanted to. But as opposed to the traditional ultimate frisbee disc, these discs, I always grab this one. They're designed to fly further and faster than an ultimate frisbee disc, to cut through the air and glide really far. So these discs are used for playing and competing in the sport of disc golf. I play in a lot of tournaments, and I actually just played in a tournament yesterday. So, yep, these are not plates, but if you had to in a pinch, you could eat off of one. Neva says, hey, Brad, congrats on your win. Keep rocking, man. Love from India. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I was really, really happy to get a win. It's been a long time. I felt like my disc golf has been, well, I'll use the term subpar, ironically, pretty much all of 2025. I've had one round that I was like, this was a good round, and I missed 5 putts in the circle. So it still felt off. But yesterday, I only missed 1 circle 1 putt, and it was from a knee in the mud under a tree branch to an elevated basket. So I have no shame in missing that putt. It was a ridiculous putt to expect to make. And otherwise, I was 100% in the circle. So it just kind of felt like I was clean, playing well. Uh, Justin the first since I was here first. Ooh, that's better. That's better. That's a good differentiation. Justin, you get the name Justin. Hound says, can you give me happy birthday? Happy birthday. Also, happy Mother's Day. Moisty says, are they all made from the same material or are some stiffer, heavier than others? That's a great question. And I have a great example to answer that question, I think. Not that one. Is that it? Is it really that far? It's off camera. All right. So this is a perfect one to answer your question. So this is a parachute, and it's made of a floppier plastic that's supposed to bend, and it will just kind of go back and retain its shape. But a lot of discs don't do that. They'll bend a little bit, but they really don't have that level of flexibility. And for a putter, it has even less real give to it. And if I were to really bend this, it would stay bent and it wouldn't come back. So they're all of different materials, but they're all going to be plastics, basically. Let's see. They also have different... It's too far away. They're also going to have like different designs for them. This is a cosmic neutron plastic and design versus I don't have my bag with me. So I would be showing off the different plastics that I usually bag, but I don't have it with me. This is of course, I would do that. So this one you see has some metal flakes in it. I also have a few that are more see-through, like this Tempo. And this also glow. So there are a bunch of different types of plastic. Their stiffness can determine how long the disc is going to fly the same. And depending on how you like the disc to feel in the hand, it'll fly differently for you as well. Hope I didn't break my trophy. MA1, that's the wrong one. Where'd the trophy go? All right, it's not broken. It's good. It's good. Technical difficulties here. All right. Okay. Justin 2 says, okay, Bradley, pick what are you going to call us? I guess Justin 2, you have your answer. Dude just says, found a turtle looking for my destroyer. That's kind of funny because Blaze and I left the disc and went back and found a turtle as well. Friday. Just Friday. Dude, are you still live on the course looking for your destroyer and finding turtles? Dude just says, hate elevated baskets. Luke says, same. I don't mind certain context of elevated baskets occasionally. It's cool if they're on a pedestal or on some type of riser. If it's just a taller pole, I think it's kind of lame. Moccasin Creek has a really cool lighthouse basket where it's so high up that when you make it, you have to either climb partway up the lighthouse or shake it until it falls down into the, like, through the bottom of the cage inside of the lighthouse. Is pretty sweet. So occasionally, the Eagles Crossing tiered basket is pretty sweet. I think they can be cool, but just a taller pole just for its own sake, kind of lame. Kind of lame. Neva says, wonder if you remember me, the guy who told you a game called Carom, a square board with holes on corners, and you got the pucks. Ring any bells? Yes. I remember not having any idea what that game was, and I remember you had to teach us what it was. And it was pretty cool. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate you coming back to the stream. Young Juice says, almost got an ace Saturday. Heck yeah. My buddy Blaze hit the cage twice. He cut across the band and touched a chain from 280 and then hit the back of the cage and bounced off a nub. Like it was a wild thing. We caught them both on camera as well, but he did not ace. Somebody aced in the tournament yesterday and won like $500. I did not. Dude just says, don't worry, any of us remember you. Adam says, love the parachute. Just got an ace on mine last week. Heck yeah, congrats. That's awesome. That is awesome. Luke says, I'm gonna go disc golf. See y'all later. Man, now that it's lighter, longer in the evenings, I'm losing people to the course. It's not good. All right, Luke, have fun, enjoy, get an ace. Hey, there's Doc. Why is Innova Dragon not on this list? Because I didn't want it on the list. Doc, I saw a disc floating in the middle of Scrapyard's Pond, and I thought of you because I figured it was an Innova Dragon. Luke says, Justin 2 says, have fun, Luke. And Luke says, thanks, my second favorite Justin. Nice. Doc is here. Turtles are known to be mutant and teenagers, so of course they love discs. Of course. Rip Innova Dragon. Dude just says, no, I have found my destroyer. Also, what's up, Doc? Nice. Doc says, he is. Oh, wait, that's me. Innova Dragons will always be made. Don't believe the hype. Doc says, not much. Dude had to stop in and see Mama. Happy Mother's Day to her. Luke says, how do we stop kids ruining the disc golf course in my local park? Ooh, that's a tough question. So maybe a couple of signs will help, like watch out for flying discs, just kind of signage that makes it clear like this portion of the park is a disc golf course. It's dangerous to just be here. But you're never going to be able to prevent everything. Period. If you're sharing space, it's going to be rough. I like to try to explain to everyone, like, hey, heads up, that you're on a disc golf hole. Like, I'm about to throw at that basket, and these things weigh a lot, and they'll really hurt if they hit you. So, like, you need to give me some space. Like, move out. You can't be here. Usually, people will listen, but it doesn't mean that someone else won't run into the course. So if you're talking about like graffiti and stuff like that, I really don't know how to help you. Really don't know. I won't read Doc's suggestion because it could potentially get me in trouble. Neva says, good night, y'all. It's Monday morning, 5 a.m. already here. Got to show up to work in 6 hours. Stay safe. Awesome, dude. Thanks for hopping by again. Appreciate you swinging through. And have a good day at work. Get more rest and have a good one. Oh my gosh, you guys have terrible suggestions. Justin 2 says, just hit them with a disc, Luke Harris. Doc says, just glad about the discs I got in yesterday. We'll need them Monday. Mermaids, awesome. Gonna go test those out in the course. Justin 2 says, just say 4 as soon as it's right about to hit them. Adam Powell says, ever play in Colorado? I have not played in Colorado. I would love to. And I've got a buddy who travels to Colorado every year or so, every 2 years maybe, who kind of half invited me to swing out and play some disc golf with him. I didn't make that happen, but I'm hoping in the next couple of years to make a disc golf trip to Colorado and just play as much disc golf as possible in like 4 days. It'd be really cool. But I've not played in Colorado. Seems absolutely beautiful. Dude says, I've got the stream on in my pocket. LOL. That's awesome. Luke says, hey, I leave the stream up on my PC so you still get my view time. Aw, appreciate that, Luke. Justin number 1 says, headed out with Luke. See ya. Awesome. You guys get an ace. Between the two of you, I expect 1 ace and 1 chain out. Brent says, you see how our game of horse in the backyard got your putting on lock? Yes, to think back into history. About a month ago, I destroyed Brent in multiple games of horse and pig. He had no chance. He had no idea what was about to happen to him. And yes, he beat me once or twice, but I handily destroyed him when it mattered, including when it was dark out. So I guess I have Brent to thank for practicing my putt for me. Yes. Also, I have Blaze to thank for getting me to play 10 rounds of disc golf leading up to a tournament and still actually playing well. which kind of surprised me. I thought I was going to have a rough one, especially when I woke up. I was like, oh man, I feel rough. My allergies are on fire. I'm tired. I feel rough. I was throwing shots in the field and I was like, ugh. Oh, there you go. Cracked my shoulder just like that. Felt rough. And then I guess I just got warmed up and felt good and played well. So thanks, Brent, and thanks, Blaze, for getting me prepped for that tournament. Doc says, by the way, young players, keep an eye out for Bobby Slick, Daddy Cool Breeze at Dynamic Discs, DGAM. I don't even know what I just read. Erwin says, Chuck Norris, howdy. Erwin, thanks for hopping on and joining here for Norris Chuck's disc golf stream. Appreciate you being here. Doc says, Brad, you enjoy the Brave and Warden. Maybe keep an eye out for DD doing teams or sponsored players. Bobby used to love bringing in new talent. I mean, that sounds great for me. I have applied to the DD team, have not been accepted. But that was also like a year and a half ago. So that'd be pretty cool. I would struggle to switch to all dynamic discs, though, because all I do is throw the Warden. But if it's Trilogy, then I could do Latitude and Dynamic and be okay. I would survive. W.N. Hansen says, hello from Dubai, Emirates. Colton says, hi. Hey, thanks for hopping on and joining. Appreciate you guys both dropping in. Doc says, Brad, because mermaids float and it's raining all day Monday. All right. Hashtag buy more discs. Colin says, how's your day? Day is good. Enjoyed church this morning. Was able to talk to my mom. Wish her happy Mother's Day this afternoon. And now I'm here on the stream. So having a great day. Having a good weekend. Played a disc golf tournament yesterday. And a lot of disc golf last week. Justin number 2 says, see, I got to head to play disc golf with Justin number 1. Peace out, man. Thanks for hopping on. We'll be fast. Okay, so you'll probably be back in time. Be well and enjoy. Doc says we need another Justin and like a Justina so we can have 3.14 Justins and then have Justin Pie. All right. Justin number 1 says, I guess we are liking thing 1 and thing 2 from Cat. Like thing 1 and thing 2 from Cat in the Hat. Yes. Exactly. Justin 1 and Justin 2. Says, if you visit Colorado, come to Bucksnort and Beaver Ranch. Highly recommend. Bring your lightweight discs. Yes, I do hear that the elevation greatly impacts how discs fly and that lightweight and more understable discs are good. So I will keep those in mind if I'm able to make it to Colorado. Absolutely. Bucksnort and Beaver Ranch. I feel like I've heard of Beaver Ranch. Justin 2 says, LOL. And I don't live near Justin number 1. Doc says, dynamic discs usually lets people do Trilogy. Might need to pick up a DD driver or mid. I'd be fine with that. I would just never throw it. Doc says, wait, higher elevation is better for lightweight discs. Take me up. Doc is all about those lightweight discs. Doc, did you see the, you probably didn't, but I posted a YouTube short this morning from a few weeks ago when we played in the 40-mile-per-hour wind. And it was just so crazy windy that our discs were just going all over the place. And Dujit said, Doc would suggest you grab your 140-gram driver and get out there. Justin 2 says, we'll leave stream on. Be right back. Gotta go throw discs in my yard. Absolutely enjoy it, man. Hey, Adam says, go-to is 146 G-Star Mamba up here. That's the way to go. I have a G-Star Mamba as well. Right here. I don't know about 146 grams. It's 167, I think. So not quite as lightweight, but great flyer and probably a great choice for the elevation because it's super, super, super flippy for me right now and it would probably fly well in Colorado. But I do love the G-Star plastic and I do like the Mamba. Doc says, I work 7 a.m., 7 p.m., so no, sorry, try to catch it tomorrow. You don't have a, oh, I don't know what I just lost. I just missed something, but, anyway, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., that's a long day, man. That's a long day. Doc says 150-gram Rolo. Doc says, you don't have a food scale to weigh your discs. I still don't have a food scale to weigh my discs, no. Oh, Doc says, didn't see the video. We'll try to watch it tomorrow. Gotcha. That's what you're talking about. You didn't watch the short. That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, we gotta watch it. It's pretty funny. Pretty windy. Pretty windy. Yep. All right, let's see. So in my tournament, I played pretty well. I was pretty happy. Managed to win, and I would say my best shot of the day was a par four that is kind of like 200 feet straight and then 300 feet right. Just this kind of dog leg around a corner, and I threw the sole what felt like was just absolutely perfect, and I just turned it over and just drifted and drifted and drifted, disappeared from view, and I was 60 feet from the basket. I had an eagle putt, and I hit the cage, but nobody eagled for the entire tournament. So I was one of the best. I played the hole one of the best out of all of the competitors because nobody did get that eagle. So I was very happy about that. I played that hole really, really well. So I was quite pleased. And otherwise, I hit the band twice, chained out once, all from circle two, and then missed that circle one putt. So I felt like I was playing really, really, really well and just had a couple tiny things preventing me from playing like a 10-30 rated round. But I still had a really good round, 10-11 rated. It was very happy. But it was a pretty fun round. It was good. Adam Powell says Dream Pro to collab with. Oof, oof, man. Heck. Calvin is the Dream Pro. Calvin Heimberg. He's so funny. I think that our chemistry would be good. We'd be laughing and joking about things. But I can't keep up with him. I would also love to make some videos with Sullivan Tipton because I think he's really just a humble, kind person. Really enjoy him. And I've been able to meet him a couple of different times and hang out with him. And Isaac Robinson or Ezra would be awesome. Chunko says, I have a question. If it is appropriate, go ahead and ask your question. Doc says, did watch Thunderbolts. It's a remake of What About Bob, I believe. I haven't watched Thunderbolts, so I don't get the Bob references. Doc says, Campbell Soup is the answer. Kristen Lott or Missy Gannon or Miss Frisbees. Can we have 5? What? 5? I mean, if you're saying Dream Pros to collab with, so yeah, Kristen, Missy Gannon. Yeah, those are pretty good choices. Pretty good choices for a Dream Pro. Yeah. Yep. I do kind of know Trendy Bryant and Ellie Mitling. So it'd be cool if eventually I'm back in Florida and able to film something. Maybe even with the Bryant family would be pretty fun. Because I know her brother a little bit better, Caleb. That'd be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty awesome. That's like a realistic possibility. Calvin Heimberg has no idea who I am. He has no idea who I am. So that's pretty unrealistic. I'd have to be pretty wildly popular, and I don't think that's about to happen. Doc says throw in Zach Melton and Erica Stinchcomb. There you go. Take your top 5, just like that. Good choices. We've got 65 votes in the poll, and Brave is holding steady at 38% in the lead. Soul and Enigma both at 23%, and the Echo at 15%. I'm a little bit interested in that because I would have thought that slower speeds would do better in the poll. But the Echo and Soul are tied with or below the Enigma for the votes. Very interesting. Let's see, what else has gone on this week? Have you guys been playing any rounds of disc golf? Any tournaments that you guys played over the weekend or that you guys have coming up? I'll also give a quick little update. And I'll give a shout out to Jim. So Jim Butts won, and that is his name. He won one of my discs, the Mamba, in the disc giveaway by counting all the discs in my collection. Well, we've been talking back and forth a little bit. I sent him that disc, and he sent me this Raider to give away. So this disc giveaway is coming up in this next week. So keep your eyes peeled for a disc giveaway video. I'll be filming it and uploading it soon, but I haven't gotten that done just yet. but I will be giving away the Raider, and I plan to do the giveaway in the live stream next Sunday. So that's coming soon. Keep your eyes peeled for the giveaway for the Raider. That's going to be happening pretty soon. So be prepared. We got a fish dude said hi. Thanks for hopping on. I haven't gone fishing in a while. Doc, great question. Did Blaze hook you up with any new discs? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. This is not even all of them. So Blaze grabbed a Rift for me. Blaze got me a TD, and it flies really nice, by the way. Loving the TD. He got me the Horizon DD2, which is basically an Enigma. He gave me a Gazelle, Metal Flake Gazelle. And he got me a white Brave that I plan to get dyed, and I'm very, very, very excited to get this dyed. But I don't know who to take it to dye it. Blaze dyes discs, but he's been pretty busy, and he's all the way down in Florida. So I'm hoping to get somebody local in the Charlotte area to dye this, or maybe even mail it out to somebody. But I'm very excited to get this Brave dyed. Very, very, very excited. So, boom, there's 5 discs that Blaze gave me, and I'm pretty sure he gave me like 2 more discs that are either in my bag right now. Actually, he bought a range for me that's in my bag because I was practicing with it, and I feel like he gave me something else. So yeah, he kind of loaded me up when he was here. He was just like, here you go, here you go, here you go. Connor says you can't call that golf. So disc golf plays by similar rules of golf. So it makes sense to call it disc golf because your idea of what you're doing, your goal is the same as it is in golf. You want to get it to the target in as few strokes as possible. So instead of using a club, you just throw a putter, mid-range, or driver, and that disc flies a different distance, has a different speed based on how it's shaped. So a putter is designed for shorter shots and meant to hit the chains and stay in the basket, versus a driver which is designed for further distance and longer flight. And then you'll have mid-ranges, which I don't have quite as close, which will have an in-between shape for intermediate distances. But you play by very, very similar rules of golf. You have the fairway, you have the rough, you often will have bunkers, water hazards, sand traps, which I guess is a bunker. But you'll have out of bounds, you'll have the rough. So yeah, I mean, it completely makes sense to call it disc golf because you're essentially taking the idea, the rules of golf, and applying the concept to frisbees. So it makes complete sense. It makes more sense than calling table tennis, being based off of similar rules of tennis. Because you don't run around on the table in table tennis. Disc golf makes a lot more sense. Absolutely. So I think it's totally legitimate to call it disc golf, because it's not golf, it's disc golf. Connor says somebody dives for those. So if you throw discs in the water, people are usually going to try to get it back if they can. But depends. If it's Florida, you might not even think about trying to go get your disc. But I threw a disc in the water a couple days ago, and it was like 3 feet of water. So I went in and I got it because I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's not really a problem. Not ideal, but not really a problem. Justin 2 is back and says, yo, Brad, can I suggest somebody? That's are you saying to dye my Brave? I'm sorry. Are you saying to like a Dream Pro to play with? Maybe I missed that. I'm behind in chat. Doc says, felt rough my 2 days off, didn't play. I'll regret it if it rains all day Monday, Tuesday. That'd be rough. Okay, let's see. Doc says, Brad, running another round disc golf. I'm sure they know peeps. I've been in there several times, and I've met Christian Stewart and what's his name? I've met Autumn and the guy who aces everything. I can't think of his name right now. Just totally lost it. But yeah, I should ask for Discgolf recommendations. Bob says, "Hey man, say hi to me." Hello, Bob. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Doc says, "Justin, you're back. Quick round. Just throwing in the yard." Justin was just throwing in the yard. Shadow Nightmare says, "Hi." Jiki says, "Which disc is best?" Fifth option, Panther. All right. He says Panther for option number 5. I'm sure Doc's throwing a Panther. Josiah says, "Jesus loves you. Have a good day." Have a good day as well. I enjoyed church this morning, and happy Mother's Day to you and yours. Doc says, "I'm just curious why there isn't an Uber disc. I mean, if anyone knows about drives." Haha. Okay, Justin says, "To die you're brave." Yes. Okay. He is my sponsor. He does cheap dies. Interesting. Yes, please contact me with some of that info, because I'll have to look into it, see how the dies turn out, if he has any pictures of finished product. And yes, I'm interested. So we'll have to see. Stephen A said hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Doc says, "Haven't thrown a Panther and I live in NC. I failed my people." Of course, North Carolina Panthers. You got to get that Panther throwing just to test it out. Jiki says, "You know the drill, back to editing. Happy Mother's Day, Brad's mother." I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, man. We're going to hit the course, have a great round, but enjoy your editing, get a lot done, and happy Mother's Day as well to you and your family. And I will catch you soon, man. Justin says, "Germ." Does Germ do the dies, or does Germ get dies from your sponsor? I don't understand. Doc says, "Oh, Panther is a mid, not really a mid guy. Either use a slower driver or a faster putter." That is one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. You just don't throw mids? I don't get it. Do they just, except for the Yakun Shu and Air Warship, do they feel weird in the hand, or is it the flight path? Like, do you not like how mid ranges fly, or do they just like your hand just goes from putter to driver and you don't like anything in between? This is weird. This is blowing my mind right now. Just like no mid ranges, or rare that you like mid ranges. Feel like your noodle arm. I need something faster. I don't get it. That's okay. I guess I don't have to understand everything. Quick shout out to my second stream, which will be my gaming stream. So I run the Disc Golf YouTube channel and weekly stream on Sunday, and I've started a Birdie Time gaming channel as well. So I'm planning on Tuesday night for my stream this week, and I'm hoping to do some Fridays as well. So I'm thinking every Tuesday night and some Fridays for the Birdie Time gaming. So I will be going to have that at 6:30 p.m. EST on Tuesday. So I'm playing through the Oblivion remake, the remaster, and it was pretty fun. I really had a good time last week. Thank you everybody who joined for that stream. Thank you, Doc, for being there and joining that. And it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. And I think I'm level 4 or something. Like, it's a little bit of a slow game to make quick progress in. But had a good time playing that, and I will be continuing my Oblivion playthrough on Tuesday. So make sure you hop on and join that stream as well. I should be posting about the live stream tomorrow, that it will be upcoming. So that will have a link to the stream itself. And then I also have a link to my other channel in my channel, I don't know, information or my channel settings or whatever it is. You should be able to track it down. Doc says, "I'll catch you every other Tuesday." Makes sense. Doc says 300 to 420. Oh, I skipped one. Doc says our holes are 250 to 300 feet. So when would I do mids? 250 to 300 feet is perfect for a mid range. It's perfect. I throw the Soul and the Echo constantly from 250 to 300. Let's see. In my tournament yesterday, the first hole was between 200 and 250, and I threw the Echo. Second hole was between 250. Did I say 200 and 250? 250 and 300. I threw the Echo. Hole 2, between 250 and 300, threw the Soul. Hole 4, between 250 and 300, I threw the Soul. Hole 7, between 250 and 300, I threw the Soul. And let's see, 17 was between 250 and 300, I threw the Echo. 18, between 250 and 300, I threw the Soul. So there you go. 250 to 300 feet is perfect for mid-ranges. Absolutely perfect. Justin says, check your messages for me once you're done. Okay. Yes, I will check once I'm done to see about that disc dying. I'm very excited. I'm very interested. Thank you for reaching out. Tic-tac-toe says, hello, brother. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Appreciate you being here. Do you play disc golf? Doc says, speed 4 putter, speed 6 driver. Sorry, just don't see a need for a mid. I don't know that there are very many 4-speed putters. Almost everything 4-speed is mid-range. Almost everything. There are also some, I think, 6-speed mids as well. But yeah, they're, I don't think it's, I think you're looking at too narrow of a window. I don't think mid-ranges are just 5 speeds. Like the Taco is not a putter. It's definitely a mid-range. It is a 4-speed. Soul is a 4-speed. So yeah, there are a lot of 4-speed mid-ranges. Justin said, I might be in bed, LOL, by the time you're done. That's fair. I might just message you and then you'll see it tomorrow. Yeah, that is fine. Diamond Star said hi. Doc said zone harp. I thought the zone was a 3-speed. But it probably is a 4-speed. 4303. I mean, it's a putt approach disc. It's not really a putter, realistically speaking. Joseph says truth. I think the truth is a 5-speed, isn't it? 5502. Look at that. Truth is a mid. Truth is a mid. Yeah, there's a couple of 4-speeds that are labeled putt and approach, but they're clearly not like putting putters. They're throwing putters. They're approach discs. So the overlap between putt and approach throwing discs and mid-ranges is pretty heavy. Like there's not a whole lot of massive difference. Obviously the rim shape is a little bit different. But there are a ton of mid-ranges that are 4-speed as well. So, and I would say 4-speeds that go easily further than a zone and a harp do. Throwing some truths, didn't care for the EMAC truth. Sorry, EMAC. Truth is a good disc. I have a chain out with the truth. Didn't ace with it. Didn't ace with it. So sad. Check in on the poll. We are up to 74 votes. And we're basically having the same percentages. Brave is holding at 38%. Then the Enigma has 24. Soul has 22. Echo has 16. There you go. Starting to get a little bit thirsty. Doc says, now you've got me wanting to do a mid-only round. Let you prove me wrong. It'll probably be the best round of your life. You go out there with an Echo, Soul, a Fuse, a Bel Air, something neutral that's going to fade a little bit, or a Taco, or a Truth, or something with a little more bite to it, a Compass, and you're going to tear it up. What color mids should I throw? Yellow and blue. Yellow and blue. I don't know why. I just throw them. I'm not a Michigan fan. I don't know. I like brighter colors that stick out. So I do have one green disc, but it's because it flies really, really well. Otherwise, I have like blue, yellow, pink. Yeah, mostly discs that stick out a little bit in color. Joseph, thank you so much for the donation, $5 donation. Really appreciate it. Joseph says, about how far do you throw on flat ground and what speed do you like to throw? So that's a great question. So traditionally, normally, I'm throwing around 375, 380 for just kind of like throwing for a bit of distance, but not like max power on flat ground. But when I throw for absolute max distance, I switch to my Wild Honey, which a friend just gave to me about a month ago, and I've maxed that out at 440 feet. So that disc is kind of like, I don't know if it's a mental thing or if the disc actually flies better, but when I throw the Wild Honey, it goes far comparatively to the rest of my throws. So that's my max distance. It's about 440, and that's just the power of the Wild Honey, I guess. Even if it's in my own head, it just flies really well for me. Otherwise, I'm throwing other 12 speeds around 375, 380, roughly speaking. So yeah. And then forehand, I suck. So 270 maybe for the forehand. What speed do I like to throw? So some of my favorite. Oh, that's funny. Jake just asked forehand distance. Yeah, it's not good. Forehand distance is not good. I throw, yeah, forehands are bad. Well, let's put it that way. Go watch my forehand only round at Eastway, and very quickly you'll realize that my forehand is trash. When I go for power, it's terrible. When I throw a standstill, it's fine, but when I just try a run up, it's awful. What speeds do I like to throw? So my favorite disc for distance is the Brave. The Brave is great because it has great control. It's a 7-speed, 6 glide, and I'm able to throw it around 350 feet in a big turnover shot. So I don't feel like I'm losing much distance with the Brave. Just dropping from a 12 speed to a 7 speed doesn't really hurt me more than like 20 feet of distance. But I feel like I go way up in accuracy, control, consistency. So I feel like I can throw the Brave in the Charlotte Woods if I need to, or out in the open, or with a turnover shot along a wood line that needs to finish right at the end. I pick up the Brave. So I love the Brave. That kind of 7-speed slot is really, really great. And then I also love throwing the Echo, which is kind of a neutral, slightly understable 5-speed. So for me, I throw a lot of 5-speed, 7-speed shots. When I'm going for a little distance, it's the Brave. When I'm going for a straight shot, easy control, I go for the Echo. But I also throw a couple putters, a couple 12 speeds. Yeah, it just depends on what I need. But I would say the majority of my shots are between the Brave and Echo, that 5 to 7 speed. So that's kind of my common speeds to go to. Great questions. Joseph says, right on, sorry for the interruption. Never apologize for a super chat. Really appreciate the question. Really appreciate it, man. Jake asked forehand distance, and I basically said 270. And that's going to be with like probably a 12 speed that I throw with a little bit of Annie. Not good. Doc says, Joseph, you're giving him content. No worries. I can't read that. Squo says, roly-poly bugs are actually crustaceans. Makes sense. Dugit live from home finished a very average round. Well, glad you're back. Glad you're back. Sorry it was average. But I'm glad you got your soul back and found your destroyer and saw a turtle. That's a great round. George says, haven't tried the Brave. Do you like the Explorer? So most of my experience with the Explorer is from Disc Golf Valley, but I'm going to remind myself of the flight numbers of the Explorer really quickly. So 7502. Okay. The reviewer flight numbers are very similar, very similar. 7502. So I don't have experience specifically with the Explorer, but I do have the FD1 in my bag, 7402, which I very much like. I throw it all the time. It's a really good control but stable shot, and I imagine that the Explorer is going to fly very similarly to it, where it doesn't have as much of that drift to it, unless you not overpower, but power up on it. You'll get it to turn, but I imagine that it's very similar. So I like that category, that 74502 category. I find is very good for consistent, slower speed drivers, but you're still going to get a fair amount of distance off the tee. But specifically the Explorer, haven't thrown it a ton myself. Dude just says, gonna chill and stream for the rest of the night. All right. Heck yeah. Doc says, hey, better than below average. Thomas says, tomahawk distance. Bad. Tomahawk distance. Good night. I've thrown like 5 tomahawks in my life. So I don't know, 200 feet, like 250. I could probably get it further, but I just don't throw them. I don't throw the shot shape. I don't need it, so I don't practice it. And maybe that's something I should work on more. But I didn't play baseball growing up, so the thumber, tomahawk, sidearm, those types of shot shapes, just they're not natural for me. They're not good with my arm. I just don't have that kind of impulse to throw like that. So, not my strength. Not my strength. I'm 95 to 98% backhand. So if there's a tunnel shot that finishes right, I'm throwing a Brave or an Enigma or something that's going to go kind of straight but drifting right toward the end. If it's a big forehand line that's really far right, I'm throwing a Dynasty and a turnover, or a Soul and a turnover. So I'm only throwing forehands if I need to. George says, I agree with you. 7-speed is perfect for distance and control, especially something like the Brave for me with that 6 glide. It's just like, man, it just takes off, but at the same time, I'm not throwing it with full strength and losing my accuracy. So I just love it. It's a great disc. River is also similar. I think it's a 7.7 -1.1. So also great glide on the River. Andy says, Discraft Avengers are best. Thrown Avenger a few times in the Avenger SS. Great disc, very flippy, very fun. Good discs, absolutely, I agree. Thomas says the Tomahawk is a fun shot for sure. Oh, Thomas also said, does Disc Golf Valley actually resemble the flights of the discs? I think that Disc Golf Valley represents the flights of the discs for a top 10 pro. So, no. Not for us, and not for the normal us. Todd says, hey, Brad, is it acceptable to threaten the life of my son if he doesn't cut his hair and stop dressing like an emo weirdo? You commented on his butt, so I know you've seen him. Let's see. Weekly parenting advice from Brad. Threatening the life of your children is usually not great. I tend to recommend conversation. Just maybe start with normal conversation. But he does have quite a head of hair on him. It was impressive. Doc says, Thomas, would be amazing if Disc Golf Valley would connect with the tech disc and you could play in the game like you do in real life. That'd be sweet. Maybe the best idea Doc has had since Soup. Doc says, Todd cut his hair in his sleep and only buy his pastel-colored clothes. Todd says that he has threatened to do so. Don't threaten, do it, says Doc. Do it or you love the groove. All right. Steven says, was just watching my sister, while not wanting my help, tried to open a coconut. I laughed on the inside really good. I think I would also struggle to open a coconut. Those things are tough. I have not opened, and I would not want a coconut. I hate the consistency of coconut. It's horrible. Very much dislike it. And the flavor, not for me. But that is pretty funny. Tom says, I believe that is the way, Todd. Doc says, all my ideas are great. Doc says, Steven, good on you not laughing in her face. Tom says, what is your go-to for C2 putts? Great question. I wish I had my bag with me, but what I do, I just have I have Wardens, so this will work as a representation. So I putt with Wardens for everything within like 90 feet. I'm putting with a Warden. Sometimes farther. Sometimes I'll putt with my Keystone for long distance putts that I want to hold the drift to the right a little bit more. And what I do is I have a blue Warden for the circle and a green Warden for circle 2. I used to have gray for circle 2. It really doesn't matter, but I just like to keep it really consistent so my brain doesn't have any distraction. I'm not thinking about what disc I'm picking of the two. I'm not thinking about, does this feel right in the hand? I'm just like C1, C2, and further. And the longest putts that I run are up to about 120 feet on flat ground. That's the longest jump putt that I'm going to run. And by run, I mean I'm laying it up. It's just a layup. So yeah, for me, Warden Primes, I have a stack of 14 that I have. Well, I have a stack of 12 and 2 in my bag. But the Warden has just worked really well for my putting putters. Really, since I started with a classic. Let's see, do I have it? Yeah. I started with a classic Warden, and that was my putter for everything for about a year. And so it's made the shelf. Poor little guy has been through a lot. And now I putt with Warden Primes. So yeah, C1, C2. Doesn't have to be green. It just needs to be a different putter for the circle and outside of it for my brain. Just for fun. For me, the Warden works really well because I tend to have a push putt and the prime plastic is nice and tough. It's nice and hard, as opposed to some of the floppier putters where a push putt does not work at all. So it holds, it lets me kind of pop the putter out of my hand, and then has a fair amount of stability, but not a ton. So as it pops out of the hand, it's a little bit nose down and drops into the chains, or swings in from the right side and fades into the basket when I make my putts. Oh gosh. Ignoring Doc. Dude just says, Todd, on their birthday, buy them all colored shoes and clothes. There you go. Steven says that coconut would be somewhere on my cranium if I laughed in her face. Yes, don't do that. Don't laugh. Don't do it. Dude says, then hand them a gift certificate for a salon or a barbershop. There you go. Thomas says, I'll have to check out the Warden. Been looking for a good putter. I love it. It works really well for me. Also, Discmania P2 has worked really well for me. Has good stability for it as well. I also don't love the beaded putters. They don't make a big difference, but for the push putting style, I do put my finger kind of right where that bead is. And instead of like finding that I rest on it, I find that it's in my way. So just my style, but I like the beadless putter, the P2, the Warden. They're good ones. Dude just says, someone remind me to order a Ricky Proto Putter when I've got the money. Absolutely. Doc says, now you do have a banana scented Warden, I hope. And yes, Google it. They have them. I have too. No, I don't have a banana scented Warden. Joseph says, do you use any Lone Star discs? I don't have any in the bag, but I have Tumbleweed, very flippy. Tex, which is a lot of fun to throw, very flippy for an air shot disc. Also makes a pretty good roller. Did that backwards. And I have a growler. There it is. No, yes. This is my Glow Growler. All of my Lone Star discs have come from Blaze. Blaze just supplies me with discs, and so anything Lone Star that I have, he has given to me. So shout out and thank you to Blaze. And I used the Growler successfully in a round of Glow Golf. So I'm really glad that I have it, but it doesn't make the bag. Because when I can see, I'll throw my Dynasty. Doc says, one of the Lone Star discs floats, tempted to try one. Steven says, there are still some Eagle Rainmakers out there. Eagle Rainmakers. Dude says, PA1 falling out of favor with me recently. Interesting. In Between Fate says, okay, I just started like 3 months ago, and I can do a game of solid fours at my local courses. Any tips to keep improving? Great question. So there's a ton that goes into scoring in disc golf. Depends on how difficult your local course is, of course. So if you've only been playing for a few months, I would say, here's where I would start. This is what I did to improve at disc golf. I took all of the discs that I owned, just a stack of them. My brother gave me like 15, so I was a little fortunate to start with a little pile. Took all the discs that I owned, and I had some backyard space. So I went outside, and I threw them all, collected them all, threw them all, collected them all, threw them all, over and over again, until I started to feel like I understood slowly how to throw a little bit better, how to actually hit where I'm aiming, how to throw a little bit further. And B, I started to recognize, oh, this mamba goes to the right. Oh, this diamond really goes to the right. Oh, this Invictus goes to the left. And I started to understand what each of my discs did separately. So when I began to realize how the discs would fly for me, that helped translate to the course, because I would step up to a tee pad and I had thrown every disc in my bag out in the open and watched the whole flight, the whole time that it was in the air. And when I had done that, I was able to look at the fairway and look at the trees, the obstacles, the basket placement, and say, I've seen this flight. This flight is a sidewinder or a mamba flight, where it's just moving right the whole time. And then maybe at the very end, it comes back. So that was what helped me a lot, was I just threw my discs a lot. I did a lot of field work, and otherwise just keep playing. Just keep throwing discs and getting some rounds in. Experience is a great teacher. If you really want distance, I would say look up videos on grip, power grip, or fan grip. I throw all fan grip so it can work, but a lot of people swear by power grip. And then you're going to want to look into footwork. I learned the X step, and it added a lot of distance and a lot of consistency, but it was weird at first. It took a little while to get used to it before I figured out how I like to do the X step. And then the last thing for distance is when you plant your right foot on the tee pad, you don't want your 2 feet lined up toward where you're throwing. You want your plant foot left. I guess you're facing the wrong way, but you want to plant your foot on the front left side of the tee pad if you're throwing backhand, right hand, to open up your arm swing. So instead of throwing across your chest like this, you're able to actually reach and throw like this. So if you're kind of aiming to the right, your shoulders are lined up. You don't want to be reaching around your shoulders. You want to have the ability to turn your body and throw. And last, throw smart shots. Aim for the biggest gaps. Throw safe. If you want to take pars, throw just over halfway there, just under halfway there, and make a 10-foot putt, as opposed to trying to throw all the way, hitting a tree, and rolling out of bounds and taking 5. So, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot. Just keep playing. Just keep playing. I have a couple of videos as well. I don't have a lot of instructional stuff, but I do have a putting video that I recommend. It's good for mentality, for putting mentality. That's a shout out I'll do for myself. Todd says, you guys are all very appreciated for the parenting input. It's been decided by the Community Parenting Council. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can read this. Enforced haircut is what I'll say. Thomas said a scratch and sniff disc is great. Dujit, haven't seen many Lone Star discs used, to be honest. Yeah, it just depends. A lot of the plastic is really like long lasting, but it's not the most popular. People who like it love it, but most people don't care. Doc says, for advice for in-between fates, buy all the discs, change your bag out 2 or 3 times a month, and watch Birdie Time every week. What he means is find somebody who plays a lot and convince them to give you discs, practice a lot, and watch me every day. But it was a well-intentioned advice. Thanks, Doc. Dude just says half illegal, but it works, Todd. Thomas says Innova Champion Blizzard floats. Didn't know that. I have a couple Blizzard discs. Doc says, and my sister works for, oh gosh, still illegal things. Still illegal things. Doc says, has to be under 140 grams to float. I had to Google it. I didn't know that. Interesting. Jake says, why do you like the Warden? So I like the Warden because it putts really well for me. Leaves the hand right. It's a firm plastic. I have a push putt, and so I'll just give you a quick glimpse of it. So a normal spin putt, you want to hook your finger under so that when you release, it slides out of your hand very easily. I have a push putt, so I actually get my finger on the side, and as the disc comes out of my hand, I pop it up and pop it out of my hand. It's spinning, but it's kind of a pushed, popped up and down motion instead of a straight at. The Warden does really well for me for two things. Number one, it's nice and tough. The Warden Prime Plastic is perfect, but it's also a little bit gummy in the hand. And number two, the gentle stability is perfect because in the circle, it doesn't really have time to go left, but from distance, I can trust it that I'm not going to try to give it a little bit of power and have it move right. So that's important because if I change the power a tiny, tiny bit and it changes my putter from going straight to going 2 feet right, I'm totally missing the basket. I'm going way past. But instead, what I find with the Warden is giving it a tiny bit more power just delays the moment that it fades in. So I usually will either hit the cage or hit the chains or hit the band. That's my normal, like up and down, rather than left and right. And I feel like the stability of the Warden helps a lot with that. But it's just, I've just used it so much that that's how I feel about it. I also have a Warden that I throw, a classic blend that I throw, and it flies like pretty dead straight for me. So it's nice, controlled straight shot, and you can't beat that. Good question. Steven says, what does your fan grip look like? Been curious. Let's see, this is a good disc for it. So this is my fan grip. So I have one finger hooked under the rim right here, and that's the most important finger. Then I'm pushing down a little bit with my thumb. I'm not crushing it. I'm not warping my disc, but I'm gripping nice and firmly. And then I have 3 fingers on the flight plate, including my pinky, although occasionally it comes up a little closer to the rim. I'm not gripping it. I'm not holding the rim. I'm pressing down, up, I guess, on the flight plate. So as I go through, as I throw, I'm coming through and swinging like this. And my wrist just cracked. That's great. So that's what I've got. Every once in a while, I let my thumb drift a little toward the rim if I need to hold the disc loosely or something like that. But yeah, that's me. That's my fan grip. It's what works. It works for me. It keeps me accurate, and I might lose out on a little bit of power, but I'll be honest, in Charlotte, you just don't need max power. You need to hit your line every time. And I find that the fan grip helps me be really consistent, really accurate, and I don't feel like I miss out on that much distance. I don't have next level, tour level distance, but I can still throw far enough to reach almost any realistic birdie in Charlotte. In between says, I'm gonna watch that putting vid for sure. Drives and putts are my weak points. I can approach decently. Yeah, so I would say learning stance for the tee pad for your drives, and that could be even standstill, just setting your feet in the right places, and then practicing that reaching, twisting a little bit with your hips, and throwing where you generate your power with your whole body, not just your arms. You don't just want to throw, you want your whole body to be involved in your throw. You want to learn follow through, bringing your left arm and your left leg around your body after you throw so you don't stress your back out too much like I did. And then you can incorporate a run up eventually to gain more power, but maybe start with that standstill to work on the form. And then putting, yeah, I think the putting video will help a little bit for putting mentality and thinking about how to get better at putting. This is not going to happen overnight, but no one taught me how to putt. I looked up 1 or 2 videos that I kind of didn't really like. Sorry, Scott Stokely, I didn't really like your putting video, but I got to the point where I was trying to like train myself and teach myself how to putt, and it's taken me to a place where I'm winning MA1 and MPO tournaments. So the putting is good. Putting is good. I figured it out. Took a long time. Joseph says, Lone Star is good. They have a variety of plastic, heavy, light, sticky for putters, not as understable as advertised, but once you figure that out, they bomb. I have kind of seen that they tend to be overstable discs. Thomas says, throw any Castoplast. I love the plastic Castoplast, but I have only thrown a handful of their discs, mainly the Berg, which I don't think is the same plastic that I actually really like. But I love their grippy plastic. Todd says, my floating dragon is 160 grams. Interesting. Dude says, I'm more of a fan of harder, less sticky plastic for putters. I definitely want a little grip to it, but not a ton. I like it to pop out of the hand. Dude, do you spin putt or push putt or what? I'm interested. Dude says, one finger tucked is interesting. Yeah, fan grip. That's how I do it. It just works for me. Doc says, yeah, Jake, if you're new, putters are so unique to people. Go out and find a couple that feel good and do putter only rounds. Or just use Wardens like a man. Just kidding. Dude just says, or a PA1. Jake says, the Tomahawk is insanely useful. My 138 Mamba has saved me from jail so many times. Yeah, I know the Tomahawk can be a useful shot, but I don't know. I just feel like I never experienced a position where I'm like, man, I just need a Tomahawk. Like maybe once every 10 rounds, I'll be like, oh, I kind of need an overhand throw here. Very rare. I don't know. Maybe it's just where you live that it's just, or maybe it's just more natural, so it works great for you. Whatever. Dude says, Berg doesn't really have enough glide for me. Probably only around 10 feet. It's a short putt. Anything past, I need like 4 glide. Nice. Steven says, the fact that you throw 400 plus feet with that grip is wild. Every time I try throwing a fan grip, I feel like a fish out of water. It's just the way that clicks with me. I try throwing a power grip and everything annies into the ground. It's just how it happens. It's just what clicked, what works, what's natural, and it's just it functions. Also, I have a callus on my finger that is forever going to be there because I'll never stop playing disc golf. And that's all from the fan grip. Clear Wardens make you a pro. I use fan grip on anything under 8 speed. I have heard of that. I have heard slower speeds, people switch to the fan grip. Higher speeds, they switch to the power grip. I have heard that. Doc says clear discs go 50 feet further. Just science. It's just science claim again every week with Doc. Todd says it would be so crazy if someone's bag was entirely clear discs. I would lose each and every single one of those discs. Dude just says hard to do on higher speed discs. A couple years from now, I'll work on that, Todd. Yeah, if you're talking power fan grip on higher speed discs, I don't know. For me, it feels the same. Doc says, dude, Paige Pierce recommends fan grip. Says the distance you lose is made up for in control. So my point of view on that is I agree to a certain extent. Paige would know up to about 450, but she wouldn't know about 500-foot throws. So it's possible that if you're capable of throwing further, then power grip is worth it. I don't know. I'm just saying. I personally, though, find that fan grip works best for me. Thomas says, Casoplast plastic is the best. I think their plastic is fantastic. I do want to throw more Casoplast. Bob Bunny says, frisbee? I'm guessing you're saying frisbee. If you're saying frisbee, I have myself an ultimate frisbee, but all of these are disc golf discs. They're designed to fly further and faster than the frisbee is designed to fly. And there you go. There's a difference between a frisbee and a disc golf disc. And all of these discs behind me all fly a little bit differently. So a mid-range is going to fly very, very, very differently than, I forgot what this is, the Czar. Especially a Paradox. That's going to be insanely flippy. Doc says, Todd challenge accept. I've only done clear only bags a couple of times. Jake says, also have a callus. Yep. Got to get the disc golf callus going. Dude just says, fan grip on 8+ speed discs just doesn't give me enough grip to have that control either. Some people just have the power grip down and it works better. Not me. Steven says, I never tomahawk. Thumber, sure, never tomahawk. Thomas says, Berg's not a putter. That's off the tee or for approach. The interesting thing about the putter is a putter a speed category or is a putter a design category? Because if it's a speed category, Berg is a putter because it's one speed. If it's a design category, then it's an approach disc. That makes sense. But if it's a speed category, it is a putter. Doc says, Berg can do anything. Can't vote. Todd says, I could have sworn Ricky could have only used fan grip for a long time too. Not positive, though. I think Ricky's grip is not fully a fan grip. It's either a modified fan grip or something. I think he has more than one finger hooked on the rim. But it's possible that he has a single finger. It's possible. Tom says, short-wooded drives, the Berg works great. I have seen a lot of great Berg throws, especially in Charlotte on a couple of shorter courses. Bailey, Wing It, Blair Mill. What's the other one? Rensky. A lot of Bergs because they'll fly and stop. I just tend to underthrow glidier things and hope. Doesn't always work. Doc says, clear is not a color in nature. Clear discs are easier to find. Clear discs are not easier to find. It's just science. You see right through them into the very nature itself, and you lose the disc. I would know. I lose them all the time. Dude just says, yeah, I think it was him, and he still is one of the bombers on tour. So maybe it is. Maybe it's maybe Ricky is just throwing fan grip. I think it's a modified fan grip. Got somebody outside. Steven says, Stokely says Simon only fan grips. I have trouble believing. I have trouble believing that too. Todd says, that's true, Doc. Clear really sticks out amongst colorful nature. That's just science. Doc says, Brad, it's okay to have different points of view. I'm just saying about Paige Pierce. Yes. Yeah, definitely fair to have different points of view. I'm just questioning whether she is the most qualified to advise for male throwers who can throw really far. Her advice is relevant to me. I'll put it that way. Thomas says, I like the Alva from Castoplast a lot. Dude just says, has anyone seen that one person that posted a disc that's flight plate is literally just grass? Yes, I saw it. And I will immediately lose that and never see it again. Bob says, frisbee, ... Doc says, unless someone leaves out clear trash like food wrappers. Oh, well. Dude just says, well, plastic that looks like grass. Yeah, plastic that looks like grass. Dude just says, Bob, that's what I mutter in my sleep. That's really good. I like that. Frisbee. Todd says, I hate when my clear disc lands in a pile of clear garbage. So hard to find. Doc says, got one that's Legos. Use it to scare the fathers on the card. Okay. Doc says, LOL, Todd, so often I find my disc and it's a wrapper. So irritating. You find a pop bottle or something in the woods, soda, whatever. I grew up in Michigan. It was pop. And you're like, dang, another bottle. So annoying. That was a disc. Dude just says, I think I'm going to set up my disc golf channel this week and start posting next week. I need ideas for my profile picture. Great question. Great. Yeah. I'm happy that you're making the disc golf channel. I will be one of your very first subscribers. Doc also will be one of the very first subscribers. Profile picture idea. Got to get an action photo of yourself putting. It's the classic. It's classic. Justin says, hey, man, I'm going back to bed. Justin number 2 says, hey, man, I'm going back to bed right now. See ya. All right, peace out, man. I won't make it much longer anyway. I'm tired. I'm old. I played a lot of disc golf this week. South Valley says, I know Jason. Do you know him? No, I don't know. Brian says, who are some of the pros you either played with or seen on the course, especially since you got up to North Carolina? So the biggest name pros, or actually most of the pros that I've played with have been in Florida. So Garrett Gerthy and Jessica Weiss were locals to Gainesville. So I've chatted with them a dozen or so times, and able to kind of see them all the time at Northside Park. So I saw them quite a bit. And then at the Eagles Wings conference, I saw Luke Taylor, um, Isaac Robinson, Cole Rodolin, Gannon Burr, Silas Schultz. I played with Justin Rozak and Sullivan Tipton on a doubles card, not on his team, but on his card. And then I know Ellie Mittling and Trinity Bryant, a couple of FPO players. Um, since moving to Charlotte, I was able to play on lead card with Paul Ulibarri in the Charlotte Roar Open. So that was really, really cool. I actually ended up beating him, which is like mind blowing and shocking, but I ended up doing that. Also, have seen Michael Johansson a couple of times. He played in the Renski 3 that my brother played in, and I caddied for my brother for that. I met a guy. Oh, what is his name? I forgot his name, but he's the number 2 MA 55 player in the state, I think, or number 2 MA 60 player in the state. I think his name is Steven. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know. I've run into a handful for sure. And then as far as kind of the influencers, Joseph from another round, Kristen Stewart. Christian Stewart, I played on a card with him. A is for Autumn, I met her. Yeah, so just quite a few. Austin Turner, my brother got a lesson from him, and Clay Edwards as well. Played in tournaments with them and seen them around. So I would say those are kind of the Charlotte names that I've run into since I moved here. And I only moved in December, and they kind of all went on tour in February, March. So I actually haven't had all that much time of the off season to kind of be around. So maybe in the fall I'll meet more. It'd be pretty cool. Great question. All right. Dude just says there's a good 4 groups on the course tonight. Definitely getting busier with the good weather. That's a good thing, and unfortunate if the course is busy for you. But it's great that people are able to get back out there. It's really nice. Doc says, Dude, if underage, don't use your photo. Maybe your bag with some of your favorite discs in front of it. Or use an Innova Dragon disc. There you go. Todd says, Chat GPT will make you a nice profile picture if you want to do something besides a real photo. There you go. Luke says, I aced and hit band. So I called it between Luke and Justin, an ace and a chain out. I guess hitting band isn't a chain out. But heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. That is awesome. Which hole? Dude, this is probably not going to use a pic of myself, maybe a proxy with a can of chili powder on it. That's awesome. I love that. That is great. Doc and Dude say, way to go, Luke. Steven says, you played with Yuli, don't forget that. And then he says, you beat me to it. Yes, played with Yuli, yep. I will never forget that. I really wouldn't forget it. So it was filmed, and I would really not forget that round if they would ever freaking post it. It's been 2.5 months. It was December 28th when I competed and was filmed on lead card with Paul Ulibarri. They posted round 1 of the Charlotte Roar Open, and they have not posted, Greatest Media Team. They have not posted, I'm saying 2.5 months. It's been 4.5 months. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Doc says, keep hearing Kristen Stewart. Thinking of the actress. Todd says he literally just said Christian Stewart. Christian Sturt. Not Kristen Stewart. Yes. Christian Sturt. So his name is Christian. His last name is Sturt. Sturt. So yes. The Jake Standard says, would you shoot a goat for free unlimited discs? I think I might shoot a goat for one disc, a goat. Yeah, I would shoot a goat for a goat, and I would do it with a bow and arrow. Doc says, oh, is it spelled Kristen? No, it is spelled Christian. Doc says, Jake, no, but I would stare at them. Reference to the George Clooney movie, which I have watched, and I did not fully understand it. It was a little bit wonky. Dude says, I would do most anything. I would do most anything for unlimited discs, Jake. Luke says, hole 3, the one in the tree is a really short hole. So if you watched my YouTube shorts, maybe 4 days ago, I posted my ace run attempts on the hole that Luke just aced, where there was just a tree in front of the basket. I'm showing the tree was right in front of the basket, and you had to like throw around the tree to get to the chains. So lefty Luke managed to ace that. That's awesome. That's really cool. It's a short hole, but like 80% of the chains are blocked. So it's really, well, maybe 60%. It's a really nice ace. That's really cool. Dude says they're just getting back out there, but I've been there since there was 4 inches of snow on the course in the winter. Dedication. Heck yeah. Doc says, Luke, let us imagine it was a 700-foot ace. Still an awesome ace. Really. Todd says, me and ChatGPT for an hour. That doesn't look like me. Give me a better beard. Make me fatter. No, not that fat. Dude just says, ChatGPT really got me through this school year. Not that much cheating, but, just the necessary amount. I can't condone this. I can't say that too loud. My brother's a math teacher. He'll come hunt you down. Doc says, don't hear a lot of dudes named Kristen. Was thinking Christian or something similar. Yes, Christian. I said Christian. Steven, unbelievable is the common New York phrase. Nice job using it. Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. Joseph said, played any in Texas? I have not played Texas, any courses in Texas, but if I ever am able to go, there's a couple of great courses, and of course, the Flying Armadillo is on the list, and I'll just film as many of those little wonky ace runs as I can. It'll be a lot of fun. So Texas, no, but I do have a couple of disc golfers that I kind of know of that are in Texas. So one day, I would love to. Luke says, we hit band again, different hole. All right. Looks like Luke is still out there just hitting metal. Doc says, what didn't you understand about it, Brad? It can be our next soup and movie watch along. So I think I understood the movie. I guess I didn't really understand the point. Like, I got what they were getting at, but I didn't get the relevance or importance of it. So that might just be a me thing. Todd says, do what you got to do. Our school system is mostly a joke anyway, unless you have a desire to learn. Otherwise, it's short-term memorization and forget it a year later. Coming from California. Steven said, just had some chicken soup, by the way. Heck yeah, repping the soup. I haven't had soup in over a week. I'm really not sure how I've lived this long, but I'm surviving. I did have chocolate milk, so it's kind of like a milk soup. That doesn't make any sense. I tried. Doc says, yeah, Todd, but do you want your kids to be home an extra 8 hours a day? My in-laws homeschooled 10 kids. Impressive. Todd says, solid point, Doc. Dude says, yeah, mainly just use it for English and a bit with geometry, not as much as some people I know. Well, the real problems with cheating with chat GPT, goodness gracious, is when you just have it write your papers for you. That's not okay. That's not okay. But if it's helping you understand how to get answers, and you need to show your work anyway in math, it's helping you learn the process. I would not always say that that's necessarily cheating, but then again, I don't know what you did. Maybe you straight up just ripped it off and cheated. I don't recommend that. I do not recommend cheating. I cheated in middle school, and I got caught, and I got in trouble for it, and I did not cheat in high school, and I'm glad I didn't. Doc says, if you see a flying armadillo, you're a certain type of disc golfer. I have seen an armadillo, and I could have made it fly if I had really wanted to. It walked up to my foot. I should probably post a video just for fun. It wasn't on a disc golf course, but it was literally about 16 inches away from my foot for about 2 minutes, just chilling, just walking around looking for food. I could have turned it into a flying armadillo. Could have. Joseph says, my local course is McDade. It's great. Local Texas course, I'm guessing. I haven't heard of McDade, but I'm glad you have a great local course. That's so important. That's so important. Dude says if they're home a full 8 hours a day, it's Operation Gannon Burr. Doc says Reddit was based off real life research, ended very badly. Don't rabbit hole it unless you're in for a messed up time. Yeah, I don't really usually feel in the mood for researching psyops, so I'll leave it be and keep my own ignorance in place. So I am aware that some of it was based off of real events. I just still don't get it. I don't know. Just me. Toss says I mostly use ChatGPT to probe for religious and political biases. It's a little fun game we play. Me, you're biased. ChatGPT, no, I'm not. Me, yes, you are. Yeah. Dude just said, wait, I didn't hear him, Doc. What's a rabbit hole? So yeah, the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, or the true story of it. So basically, I had this time, like a year or two in college, where I made this massive list of movies to watch, and I would just like comb through IMDb, and I would just look at all of George Clooney's movies and be like, I want to watch this, I want to watch that, I want to watch that. Add it to my list. All of Brad Pitt's movies, all of whoever, Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson, and just like compiled this enormous list of movies to watch. I don't know if I have 250 movies on that list. So The Men Who Stare at Goats was one of the higher rated George Clooney movies that I was like, okay, I guess this is like a classic. And then I watched it, and it's these people who claim to be psychic or to be able to like see through packages and be able to read the note on the paper on the inside of the package. But it wasn't real, and then it just got weird. I just didn't understand it. I would say not the most interesting movie. However, I think the story is interesting. So I just don't think it worked very well on camera. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Dude just says usually use it for ideas and projects and ideas to base my work on. That's fair. Mohammed says, hi, hello, thanks for hopping on and joining the stream. Doc says, George Clooney, nah man, you need to watch Danny Kaye. Court Jester is one of my favorite older movies. Doc says, thank me later. Todd says, Fight Club made the list, and I watched Fight Club a couple years back as well as Seven, and wow, they were darker than I expected. Whew, I don't recommend teenagers watching either of them. But as an adult, I found them very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Dude just says, does anyone here play fantasy football in the fall? No, not me. Only disc golf. Dude says, what's everyone's favorite movie? Ooh, that's a great question. Favorite movie? So I have an offbeat, weird favorite movie. I like to always shout out Changing Lanes. It has Samuel Jackson and not Matt Damon, the other guy, Batman. Why does his name just slip my mind for no reason? Matt Damon's best buddy. No one's telling me his name. Starts with a B. You guys are no help. I literally can't think of it. I'm literally staring at his face right now, and I can't think of his name. Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck. I don't know why I couldn't think of Ben Affleck, but I couldn't think of it. Just left my mind. I feel like Doc right now, just nothing going on. But it's such a weird little movie where these guys get in this like car accident and then really piss each other off, and one of them will do something to get back at the other and then feel bad about it, and when they go to kind of make amends, the other person does something back to them, and just this back and forth revenge story that just gets way out of control. Very good movie, but it's a little bit of a slow burn. It's not like an action movie. It's more of a interesting story. So that's one of my favorite movies. Otherwise, Lord of the Rings, and as far as comedy movies, Get Smart is my favorite comedy movie. Absolutely, unbelievably hilarious. Mohammed says, "Hey Doc." Doc says, "Brett, honestly, if you'd like people to watch it and do a talk about it next week, I'm down." Yeah, I won't. I won't push for a movie watch during the week. I especially don't have time to like rewatch a movie that I've already watched. But it would be fun to talk about it a little bit. Doc says Top Secret. I've never heard of Top Secret. Probably because it's top secret. Todd says Princess Bride. Great choice. Princess Bride should always be near the top. And then Hangover, Knocked Up, and Boondock Saints. I have not watched any. I guess I did watch The Hangover. I've not watched the other two. Todd says Bloodsport. Good night. What kind of movies is Todd? Todd's watching the crazy movies. Dude, don't take movie recommendations from Todd. Princess Bride is good. Yes, it is. No, I can't read this. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Don't know those movies. Josh Severe says Ultimate Frisbee. Let's go. So these are all disc golf discs. But I do have myself an Ultimate Frisbee as well. I used to play, really enjoyed it, but I moved on to disc golf to play disc golf. And yeah, but I love Ultimate. I played quite a bit in college and high school. Played for the college club team for a while, Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids. And yeah, Ultimate Frisbee is great. It's a fun sport. Dude says, I like Baby Driver, The Menu, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Usually whatever I've watched recently. Baby Driver, iconic, great movie. Haven't watched The Menu yet. Haven't watched it yet. Todd says, who would think I'd be riveting watching a 2-hour conversation between yuppies? Doc says, I really like Christopher Walken's Puss in Boots and the Pied Piper of Hamilton. Todd says, I have an irrational hatred of Ben Affleck. So that's an interesting thing because he seems to be a really love or hate person. Actor, that is. Personally, I don't really like the dude. I think he's dumb and not in a good way. Like, I think he's forcefully stupid. But I like his acting and portrayals in certain movies. I thought he made a pretty decent Batman in Batman vs. Superman. I thought he did a good job in Changing Lanes. I like him a lot in The Accountant, actually. And there's The Accountant 2 is coming out. But I don't think that he's like anything special. I just like some movies that he's in. But I also get the irrational hatred. He kind of has a hateable face. Like, he has a weird, I don't know. Anyway, I'm done making fun of Ben Affleck. He's more successful than me. Dude just says sucker for action and historical movies. Nice. The Lost One says, how many discs have you golfed? I have about 250 discs in my collection, and I've probably thrown 75 to 100 discs that I don't own or that I've lost. So I've probably golfed about 350 to maybe 400 discs in the last 3.5 years. Todd says, Birdie Time Movie Club. Todd says, dude, if you haven't seen Bloodsport, then you haven't become a man yet. Oh gosh, what kind of recommendation is this? I feel like I need to run interference just to make sure that this is acceptable. 1988, back in Todd's day. Bloodsport. It looks interesting. Sounds interesting. Yeah. Bloodsport sounds like a good movie. For my brief research, Digestive Leaf says, why you got all the colorful plates? You can't have that many guests. These are all disc golf discs. So each of them fly a little bit differently, and they're all designed for a certain shot shape to be thrown on a disc golf course. And I've never eaten off of any of my discs, but I guess it is possible if you really want to. Some of them are fairly clean, but I don't recommend eating off of them. Some of my crappy old ones I have used as coasters for like coffee, but they are not plates. SCG's here. Hey, what's up, SCG? Hopping on. SCG prepping for finals this week and really busy. Thanks for dropping by. Todd says, Van Dam's finest roll. Amon says, hello, dear. Hi, thanks for being here, I guess. Luke says, round 2, chain out hole 3 again. Oh my gosh. He's just chugging through the course, just destroying those poor baskets. Dude says, the Menu is a great movie. Starts more comical, then gets very interesting with many twists and a lot of character development. Everything that I've seen about the Menu has made it sound interesting to me. But just haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it yet. The Lost One says, you got a neon yet? LOL. There are a couple of pretty bright colors that I have. Let me see. So, I mean, I have some pretty yellow discs, some, green, orange, some bright colors. But I also have, like, this Z-Force is a glow disc. So when it's fully dark, this will glow in the dark. And let's see. This will glow. This will glow. Doesn't belong there. This will glow. And this is also a glow disc. So a bunch of the different discs will glow in the dark. And I think I only have blue, purple, and green for glow. There are orange glow discs as well. I don't have any. But yeah. So neon, kind of. Doc says, I live in the country. We make our own fun. Luke says, ace run, aced hole 3, 2 aced and 1 chain out on the same hole. Oh my gosh. He's a maniac. Doc says, Todd, he thinks calling us old is hurtful. LOL, price of houses. They will be living in Pinto that costs $25K a month to rent. That's good. SZG says, my room is so empty. Parents just moved most of my stuff out. All right, nice. Yeah. Heading up to last week of college for the semester. Got to get everything out, get the walls painted, get everything clean, and then study for finals. Tough week. Dude just says, love finals week, just test and free time. High school for me was test and free time for finals week. College, writing 12-page papers with 45 plus academic sources in the footnotes overnight because I procrastinated. So college finals were rough, but high school finals, that was my experience as well. SCG says, yeah, but when your grades are close to failing like mine, it's not fun. The Lost One says, Loft Neon the Dog Bowl disc. Loft Neon the Dog Bowl disc. I don't have a neon, like a disc called a neon. Is that a disc? Let me see. Yes, it is a disc, and it does glow. Oh, it's not out yet. The Loft Neon has a Berg top. Other than that, we don't have much info. What? That doesn't make any sense. This says it's not out. Well, I will say I have a wrong side. I have a loft boreum. So there you go. Closest thing. But I have not heard of the neon. Oh yeah, they are out. Why does Infinite Discs not have it? That is so strange. That's really weird. I looked up the neon on Infinite Discs and it doesn't exist. It's just not there. I do have a Makani though. So there you go. Dog bowl disc. SCG said play too much disc golf, got bad grades. It happens. Dude says, yikes, mine could probably survive a few B's on finals and be all A's still. There you go. Doc says, just remember you're not your grades. In the adult world, grades don't matter, just that you passed and graduated. Yes and no. Depends on where you're applying, because sometimes they, especially as a young hire, they do care about your GPA. But that only lasts for a couple of years until you get experience. But you do need to get experience, so it does help if you have good grades. But it is not the end of the world. Dude says, is it worth it unless you want a great college? Other than that, yeah. Yeah, if you want scholarships, get good grades. Just saying. I was very fortunate and blessed. I had a combination of sports scholarships and academic scholarships, and I applied for a bunch of scholarships, and I didn't have to pay for college for the first 2 years. And then my third year, I paid $1,000 a semester. And then my fourth year, I graduated a semester early, so I only had to pay a couple thousand for my final semester. So I was very fortunate. SCG says, have to graduate with a 3.0 to get my master's, so it kind of matters. Yep, that's true. College is a different thing. I mean, they're definitely different things, but I'd almost say high school, depends on what you're going for, but your grades in high school can matter a lot. Especially if you're looking for financial aid based on academic performance, it can make a big deal. Make a big difference. Doc says, oh, well, I tried. Doc says, oh, well, yeah, maybe finals are a little less stressful for you then. Or a little stressful for you then. Sorry, I misread that. Lost One says, yes, it's out. Yeah, I guess I heard about the neon, but I did not know that it was in production. Don't have one. I only have one loft disc, and it's the boreum. It's all I've got. Oh man, birdie time. Yep, that's me. Chip says it's a soup bowl. Are you talking about the neon? The xenon is so good. Interesting. Yeah, Infinite doesn't have it. That's crazy. It is. It's blowing my mind. I was so confused when I looked it up and they just said we don't have any information on it. SEG says not too much disc golf. Maybe should have been more responsible about when I played. As long as you graduate, it's worth it. Dude just says. Doc says next you'll be saying you shouldn't change up your bag weekly. SCG. Dude just says only scholarship I've got was to a private high school, but didn't take it because none of my friends were going there, and the public one had much more resources. Yeah, if you graduate with all A's, though, you should be able to get academic scholarships to different colleges for sure. You should qualify for certain financial aid. Dude says neon sounds like a Berg range type. Probably. SCG says don't have enough discs to fill a bag. That's really sad. Doc says Yeet Street has a neon loft. I did see that. SCG, broke college student, don't have enough money to buy discs. And you're too far away from me because I would give you free discs. Doc says time to drop out and get a job. And SCG has a job and is in college and is constantly driving back and forth. Parv says hi. Hey, thanks for hopping on and joining us. Appreciate you being here. Chip says, no, neon is way more stable than Berg. More stable than the Berg X2. Interesting. That's interesting because Doc the flight numbers aren't really on infinite, so I can't even see what it's supposed to do. Let's see if I can find it. Puddle top. Slight fade, very little skip. Interesting. 3103, so it does have a 3 fade. Okay. Doc has to put disclaimers with his messages now. Oh, gosh. Oh, don't do that. I'm totally kidding. Stay in school and live at home forever. SCG has an amazing job just trying to stay out of debt. Amen. Yes. If you, at all possible, can stay out of debt. SCG says, I'll pay for shipping. All right. Hey, you want a disc? I'll send it to you. Michael says, when and what is the giveaway? Good question. So, I lost it. There it is. So I will be giving away this Raider next Sunday night, but I will be releasing a disc giveaway video this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that video, and you'll just have to leave a comment and be subscribed. But leave a comment on that video for a chance to win the Raider, and then next Sunday night at 7 p.m. EST during the live stream, I'll announce the winner and do the drawing live. So that's going to be this calendar week. You'll have until Saturday at 11:59 p.m. EST to enter into the drawing. So coming soon. The video is not out yet, but it will be out in the next 2 days. So everyone will have about 5 days to get in on the giveaway. Dude says, what masters are you studying for, if you don't mind me asking? SCG, studying kinesiology, which is awesome. Parv says, is disc golfing famous or very niche sport? First time hearing about this. Don't want to offend. This is a real question. No offense taken. So it's kind of in between. It's not, I would not say that it's a famous sport, but as much as it has been a niche, it really got fairly popular in the last 4 or 5 years, especially with COVID. A lot of people were like, I got to get out and do something. And they would go play disc golf. And a lot of families started playing disc golf. So it's a little bit niche, but it's fairly popular. So yeah, I would say that especially people, I see families playing disc golf together quite a lot. It's really a family activity that you can go hit a course together, and if you're lower skill, it doesn't really matter because you're playing to try to do better than you did last time, more so than compete against other people. So playing you against yourself is really nice. And it plays like the rules of golf. So as few throws as possible to make it into the basket. But yeah, it is kind of a niche sport. It's not super popular. It's nothing like football, basketball, soccer, or football. It's nothing like that. But in Europe, it is fairly popular compared to how it is in the United States, where it's just getting to be kind of popular now. Europe takes it more seriously. Yeah. SCG working to be an athletic trainer. That's awesome. Long-term good thing, and good for helping disc golfers hopefully stay healthy long-term. I probably need that. Doc says we should vote to give SCG the next giveaway disc. That'd be nice. You guys are too kind. I can also just give him a disc if I was a generous person. Doc says haven't worn. Oh, dude says nice personal trainer sounds like a cool job. Doc says maybe SCG will train the next crop of Gannons. That would be really cool. Yeah, I mean kinesiology is fantastic, and every sport needs it. Every sport needs healthier ways to compete and stay active without getting injured. And yes, disc golf needs that in particular because we don't know how to stop ourselves from getting hurt. SCG says, thanks for the love. Dude just says, personally, I think you should give all mods one extra entry to the giveaway. Maybe a little biased. Maybe what I should do is I'll step it up and make it worse, is do like a membership thing, and members get extra entries into giveaways. I don't like that. That sounds kind of scummy. But I do like the mods thing. That's pretty funny. Doc says, you can travel around with the athletic trainer. And SCG says, love that idea as well. A little biased. Chip says, Loft has another mid-range, the Silicon, comparable to the Pyro or the Gateway Warrior. Slightly more glide than either. We got the Loft Expert. I've not been aware of anything other than the Boreum, and I mostly got the Boreum because it has the initials BH, which are my initials. So that's the main reason I got the Boreum. Haven't even thrown it that many times. Dude just says, I somehow always find myself getting into niche communities. They're always much more welcoming than larger communities. That can be true. That can absolutely be so true. SCG says, same, always get into things that feel so random. Yeah, and if you get too many people, you start to get more crazy people. And it's hard, it's easy when you have one crazy person at a time, but when you have 15 at a time, it gets overwhelming. Doc says, especially those goth emo kids with long hair, those people rock. Sorry, Todd. SCG says, I'm into that music. I like me some random music shout out. Icon for Hire has some songs I really like. Colton Holmes says hi. Hello, Colton. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. SCG says, I don't look like I do, though. Dude says, yeah, I feel like most of my interests aren't the type that come up in regular life or conversation. Yeah, that's fair. I kind of had that sometimes growing up. I really liked reading, and in school, reading wasn't very like popular. People weren't like, "Oh, I'm reading. I read a great book yesterday." They're like, "Oh, I watched this on TV." So everyone was talking about the shows they watched. But I was like, I read Aragon and I really liked it, and I read uh 4 by I Am Number 4 by so and so. I can't even remember who the author of that is. It's a fake author, by the way. Pittacus Lore. There you go. And people are like, "What's I Am Number 4? Is there a movie?" It happens. Doc with good advice says, "SCG, never apologize for what you listen to or read." Doc says, "Shouldn't bring up reading. Still upset about current politics. Whatever." SCG says, "Not apologizing, not ashamed. Heck yeah. Love 1980s to 2000s rock and like alternative rock." There you go. Doc said, "Grew up ashamed of my love of musicals, SCG. Luckily, internet brought me to other people who love them." That's great. I grew up really enjoying the musical Wicked. Listened to the songs a lot, thought the singing was really, really great. Have watched the musical a couple of times, but I found out I don't like musicals in general. I like Wicked because I watched Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and I wanted to gouge out my eyes. Dude just says, speaking of memberships, any progress with it or any cool ideas with it? Basically, not really, because traveled to Michigan, came back, had half of a normal week, and then I had to throw away my video and try out new editing software. Then I had Blaze visit me last week, from Tuesday to this morning at 2 a.m. So I have basically been unable to develop that side of things recently, and it's been all like busy off the channel, and then when I am on the channel, it's pretty much learning the new editing software. So I feel slow, but I'm patient. It's going to be okay. But yes, I'm basically going to be putting the memberships on slightly back burner for now. Hopefully, like in a couple of weeks, I'll be back at it. SCG says, sorry you felt like that. And Doc says, oh, it was the 80s. SCG says, just bought a dope Nirvana shirt. Currently wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt. There you go. Judah says, used to be really into making custom keyboards piece by piece and play a lot of fantasy sports like soccer and even hockey sometimes, and of course disc golf. Yeah, that's really cool. I personally didn't get into fantasy anything, but it was mostly because I wasn't into the sport. Because the idea of fantasy leagues do interest me. but I haven't had interest in the sports that they have been about. So I've never really cared. So fantasy football in particular, I have no knowledge, no interest, so I don't jump into any fantasy leagues. But if they really, really do get fantasy disc golf fully like off the ground and good, I'm all over that. But they've got to keep working on it. Doc says musicals like Dreamcoat were a wild time. Cats and Jesus Christ Superstar were really enjoyed pushing boundaries. Yeah, not my favorite. Doc says, "Did you ever watch Linus Tech Tips?" I get at least like one comment a month, probably, that somebody references Linus Tech Tips on one of my videos because our facial hair is quite similar. And I literally saw a thumbnail and was like, wow, this guy looks like my facial hair. That's so crazy. And I look up and it's Linus Tech Tips. And I was like, oh, no wonder people leave the comment every once in a while. It's really funny. Juju says, yeah, sometimes used to binge them. Are there keyboard videos out there? One of those guys is really into keyboards. One of those things where you see a cool video about it and you get sucked in. Yeah, there you go. I played a lot of Raid Shadow Legends. I was a Raid clan leader for 3 years, dedicated daily Raid, fighting the clan boss, fighting the Hydra when it came out, fighting in clan wars, just the whole 9 yards. Was all into it. And then I started disc golf, and I said, Raid, sorry, you're gone. You're done. All right, made it to 9:20. I might call it at 9:30. Like I said, 11 rounds. I can't even talk. 11 rounds of disc golf this week, and I'm kind of feeling it. My body mostly feels good, but I'm just kind of weary, just kind of worn down. And I am playing tomorrow, so it's back at it for the disc golf grind, which is great. I'm very happy about it. And I'm glad I'm taking today off, but a little bit worn out. SCG says, dang, bro, go to sleep. Yeah, I slept last night until Blaze headed out at 2, and so I woke up so I could lock the house and say goodbye. And then I couldn't fall asleep for like an hour and a half, so I slept from like 3:30 to 7:30. It was fine. It was enough, but I'm feeling it a little bit. Doc says, should have done an interview with Blaze. Work on your skills for when you get some pros on in the future. Yeah, well, I'm planning on doing an interview next week on the stream. So that is not a guarantee, but I'm planning to have a guest on stream next week for, I don't know, probably about 20, 30 minutes. So that's my plan. So that's next Sunday night. I'm planning to have Bryant on the stream. So hopefully it works really well. Doc says, hashtag Team Brent. Brent will be on the channel plenty. I'm not rushing to get him on the stream. He's going to be busy as a dad. Hoping for a Team Brent interview. We'll get more Brent content soon. Brent and I are going to be playing US doubles, so like we're going to be filming together. Actually, we're going to be filming stuff Saturday. I can't guarantee when that video is coming out because I still can't edit my last video that has Brent in it. And I have a video lined up from Michigan, and I have a video lined up that I filmed with Blaze. So I have plenty of content. I just don't have it edited, so I can't post it yet. But it is going to happen. Let's see. 11 rounds will do that to you. Yeah. Definitely one of the shorter streams, but you need some sleep. Yep. Make it one of the shorter ones. Plus this week with having 2 streams guaranteed and maybe a stream on Friday. If I could get myself to figure out my editing software and get 3 streams in this week, that would be great. So I'm hoping to hit the ground running tomorrow. SCG says, no, this disc golf trip I'm going on, it's going to kill me. 4 days of driving and disc golf. Yeah. I mean, I experienced that to a lesser extent because it was all in Charlotte, but it was kind of like an hour and a half of driving to 2 hours of driving every day, and then disc golf, hit a course, drive the next course, hit the course. Like 2 hours of driving total. It's a lot of fun, but you do feel like it's your job. It's like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is you're out playing disc golf, and you get home and you make food and you watch something and you're like, time to sleep and do it again tomorrow. It's great. SCG says, drive around Texas with the other SCG guys hitting some famous courses. Oh, yeah. Do you have a timeline for that trip? Dude is wondering when. Chip says, I do know a lot about loft discs. I think their beta plastic, the DX equivalent, is the best. Literally outperforms everything else I've tried in terms of durability. Interesting. We have hi, hello, but I will be completely unable to read that name. So I apologize for that, but hello and hi. Chip says, and their alpha plastic is better than K1 from Cast Blast. Ooh, interesting. SCG says, going to play the Beast in Waco and Flying Armadillo. Great choices. Dude just says, getting my license this fall, so next summer, going to try to drive somewhere on a DG trip, maybe even North Carolina. Heck yeah, we'll get some disc golf in. We'll host a tournament. We'll do everything. It'll be great. Dude, Doc says, another great movie, What Dreams May Come. And sweet Dude, hope you kick Brad's bum. Dude just says, another year of practice. I hope I'd give him a run for his money. Yeah, but that's another year of practice for me too. Now I am going to be old at the time. I'll be 30. But I will be playing MPO, so maybe I'll be trained up. Doc says, I'll talk Brent into taking Brad out partying the night before until 3 a.m. in the morning. Let me think about the last time that I went out partying. Doesn't happen. My idea of a party is me playing video games with a buddy as long as we can both stay awake, drinking Mountain Dew. And that's been my idea of a party for the last 10 years. Maybe 15 years. So that's not going to work. Brad is an introvert. He likes to stay home. When he's not playing disc golf, he likes to go home. SCG says, had to move to the 3rd week of June. Okay, a bit over a month. You'll see some of the content from that trip. Hit the YouTube channel and other socials. Heck yeah. Dude says, stay hydrated in the Texas summer. Can barely survive the Indiana heat. Yeah, it's going to be wild. Heck yeah. Adam4 says, love your videos, playing every day, hoping to get as good as you. Heck yeah, dude. Keep practicing, and I hope you get as good as me, and then a little bit better. And then even better than that. Doc says, 30, wow, so your cart will be your walker. I don't have a cart yet. But I did tell myself, this is relevant, I did tell myself when I started playing disc golf that I would get a cart when I was 30. So it's coming soon. I may or may not get a cart. SCG says, I could drive 16 and a half hours right now to play disc golf tomorrow morning in Charlotte. All right, I'll be ready. I'll give you some breakfast and lunch. Luke says, we were still at the course. Justin wanted to ace but didn't get it. Dang. That would have been really sweet for you to both ace while you're out there. Doc says, Brent will do it for his fans. His fan. He has you. Dude just says, a party should be ordering food out, watching a sports game until 1, then playing a glow round. Ooh. I haven't done... the thing is that I haven't had, like, people to play glow rounds with that I also would hang out with, like, over a long stretch of time, except for maybe Blaze. That sports kid says, roast me. Dujit says, you haven't played disc golf yet, presumably. That's a good roast. That's good. That's good. I don't really do roasts. Sorry. Really lame. I mostly roast Doc for being old. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my roast. And that sports kid says true. SCG, don't like parties. Go to the biggest party school in Texas. I think they are kind of lame. Any social environment where you're inebriated or unable to communicate because of noise is a horrible place for me. I hate it. I don't want to be there. I'm not interested. No, thank you. The only exception is a music concert, a live concert that's really loud. That's acceptable because you're not supposed to talk with each other. You're supposed to be entertained and experience the music. So that's fine. Like a concert, that's fine. That's great. But like a social environment where just music is blasting and you can't hear anything, what's the point? No, no thanks. I would rather have a meaningful time spent with someone personally and talk with them for a little bit, watch something together, play a video game together that we can win as a team, play disc golf. Like, that's way better. That's so much more fun. Sharing those experiences and growing closer as friends, like, that's next level. But partying is stupid. Like, that's just me. That's my life. Call me boring, but I think it's smart. Doc says, yeah, I've lived longer than other people. So hurtful to be roasted for that. Yeah, well, I mean, if you can still read it and you can still hear it, it's a good thing. That sports kid said, I used to play golf. Golf is fun. Not for me, but I get it. I get it. Dude says, yeah, most of the time I just end up standing there or talking with the same few people. Always feel so much better when I leave and just walk around at night. Yeah. If there's not an activity to participate in, it's really, really rough. Like playing ping pong is great, or darts or something like that. That's fine because you're actually doing something with someone. But just standing around, ugh. Or worse, dancing, not for me. Doc says, I do introvert parties. Me and my dog eat cake and watch movies older than Brent. Sadly, can't find any older than Brad. Every single movie you've ever referenced is older than me. 1995. That's the way to do it, though. I highly approve of introvert parties. SCG says, never been inebriated. Don't plan on doing so. Don't drink, kids. Really not worth any of the trouble. Agreed. Just get chocolate milk. It's way better. Dude just says, not really the most sociable walk up and talk type person. Yeah. Doc says, okay, you're boring. SCG says, you're boring. Thank you. Thank you. I like to think that I'm boring. It makes me happy on the inside. SCG says, I feel like people who would play disc golf typically don't go to parties. I think it's split. There's a lot of people I know who play disc golf who are party people. And sometimes they're loud party people. Sometimes they're weed party people. But there is a subgroup that are party people. And there's another subgroup that are all like just nice people who are having a good time and have families and are totally normal. Ping pong darts could be fun. You throw darts and hope the other person catches it on their paddle. I've done that with a friend. We took turns holding the dartboard like a shield and throwing darts at each other and catching them on the dartboard. SCG says, I could be completely wrong. Just kind of the vibe I'm getting. Disc golfers are too chill. I think you're half right. Dude just says, I think you'd be right, but I'd rather be here or a disc golf course than a party with 100+ people. That's way too many people. Doc says, anyone like diluting chocolate milk with white milk? No. No. It's the opposite. You put chocolate syrup into your chocolate milk because it's not chocolatey enough. Good night. Dude just says, that's why you're not a mod, Doc. True. Very true. Calling it like it is. SCG says, honestly, just like when I have the course to myself, but I like seeing the sport grow. Yes, definitely both. Like taking my time and chilling, yes. Yep, it's absolutely great to go to the course and have one or two or no people out on the course. It's wonderful. But also when I show up to a course and I see 5 people putting and people already on the course, I'm like, heck yeah, get some disc golf in. Doc says, it's cool, Dujit. And me too, SCG. Great time to talk to God. Amen. It's nice to get on the course and just quiet. Peace. Really peaceful. SCG says, I might only see the most extreme parties, to be honest. Parties at Stephenville are wild. Yeah, it's possible that that's part of it. But even like I went to a Christian high school, and even the parties that we had were like still like too like uninteresting. They weren't there weren't activities that we were doing. It was just show up, there's music and eat food and socialize, but it wasn't, I don't know. I didn't see the point. I would much rather pick the people that I wanted to socialize with and go eat a dinner with them and go hang out. Or I would rather go to an activity that I would be socializing with people at, like a ping pong night or volleyball night or something like that. I would rather go to an activity where there are people that we can socialize or pick my people and eat and hang out than go to a party that has no purpose, but there are a bunch of people. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Doc says, Brad, I think we've had this milk argument before. Maybe we are getting old. It feels like an old person argument and a very young kid kind of argument. Dude just says, no offense to them, but I can't stand to be around the stereotypical college, high school party people. Usually find myself with a chiller, friendlier crowd. Yes, definitely understand. SCG says, yeah, it's just drinking and other unholy activities. Not interested. Yes. Not worth it in the end. Doc asking about those unholy activities. Thank you, SCG, for not elaborating. Dujet wouldn't know because he's not there. Doc says, well, I do feel young sometimes. I guess SCG and Brad is old, so yeah. Yep, that's me, elderly. Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest. I've built really good relationships with a lot of people, and I didn't build those relationships at parties. Yes, maybe a music concert or something like that, where it's an hour and a half ride and we're all talking in the van and having a great time, attend it together, talk about it on the way back. Like that's awesome. But like I've never made a friend at a party or built a better friendship at a party, but I have built deeper, meaningful relationships with people going to eat at Taco Bell and then watching a movie afterwards, playing a round of disc golf or two or three, hanging out and talking after church, playing video games together. And so I just think that choosing an activity to do with someone that gives the opportunity for real communication is so much better than an environment where the focus is not on an activity or communication, but on hedonism and self-aggrandizement and drunkenness. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. SCG says, I'm old. I'm not even 20. SCG, you are not old. I'm old. Doc says, I went to a party once. It wasn't so bad. I think around 3 a lifetime is a good number. Dude, you'd rather not be the most popular in a room and actually have genuine friends and family. Amen. Doc says, no, Brad is old. Unless you want to go pro, then yes, you're old. Dude says, instead of having a ton of fake friends. Yep. Fake friends are super lame. What would be, dude just says, what would be old to go pro? That's a great question. Doc says 19. I think 19 is old if, let me rephrase. I think if you start playing disc golf at 19, then it's hard to go pro. I don't think 19 is too old of a time to start going pro if you've been playing. Steven says, did I tell you my disc golf goals for the summer? Finally get to 400 feet and beat this MPO player who plays on my course a lot. Even though I'm still not beating most people, getting a lot better though. That's a great goal. I love that. Getting to 400 feet, like that's an elusive distance that really makes it. Like that's huge. So I hope you hit that and beat that MPO guy. He deserves to get destroyed. Lofty, but something to shoot for. Yeah, that's great. SCG says, heck. ZGamer says, hi, brother. How are you? Doing great. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Hanging out and having a good time. Dude just says, "You've got that, Steven." Heck yeah. Doc says, "My goal is to get another 20 discs this year. I've never thrown. I'm up to like 8." Yeah, you're on pace. You'll get it. Those mermaids. Are you talking about are you talking about what's the word? Like a new disc? Like multiples of the same disc, or are you talking about different discs? Like if you throw 4 mermaids, does that count as 1 or 4? Steven says, and get my mid ranges to 300 feet. Got my mind bender close last week. Heck yeah, that's a great goal. Mermaid, shoe, berg, and dancing sucks. Oh, well, yes, it does. Different molds. Okay. Z Gamer says, I speak Spanish no more. SCG found a brand that just started up. There you go. Z Gamer is translating a bunch of animals for us from Spanish to English. Doc says, Steven, ladies like a man who dance, don't discount it. That's a different type of dancing. That's real dancing. Ballroom dancing, those are actual valuable dances for relationships versus party dancing, not valuable for relationships. Although I suck at both. Brad, no, just dancing like slow dancing. Yeah, slow dancing has more value. Party dancing, no value. Slow dancing has value. SCG says, check out Sci-Fly disc stock. There you go. Check that out. Okay. Party dancing is just drunk people letting it all go. Yeah. Is line dancing a party dance? I would say it doesn't count in what I'm referring to as party dancing because it's organized, it's a group activity, and it has a purpose to it. Like you're going to line dance together, and that's very, very different than the music's blasting, everyone has their solo cup, and they're just swinging every limb in every conceivable direction. Is party dancing even dancing? It's kind of just flailing limbs. Fair enough. Z Gamer says, I don't speak English in English. No te preocupas. All right, guys. I'm worn out. So, a couple of quick little shout outs. I know most of you have already been here for most of the stream or a lot of the stream, but Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. EST, so same time that I start my streams on Sunday, I'll be throwing up a post ahead of time, but I'll be doing my Oblivion remaster playthrough. It'll be week 2. So hop on and join for that. That'll be a lot of fun. And I'm very 50-50 on if I'll do another stream on Friday. I don't know if I can this week, but hopefully. And then the next thing will be the disc giveaway. So I'll be giving away the Raider. Thank you, Jim Butts, for sending this to me. He won the Jade from me that I sent and signed to him for guessing all of the discs. And in return, he sent back a disc to give away. So that was really cool of him. And so this Raider will be going up for the disc giveaway, and the video will be out soon. Leave a message on the leave a comment on the video, and then on next Sunday's live stream, I will draw the winner on the stream. I think those are the main things that I need to announce. So I think that's the big stuff. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I'll answer the last couple of messages really fast. Dude, soccer youth camp went well, but holy cow, kids are exhausting. That's so true. That's so true. I was 3 years camp counselor, 3 years youth pastor. Kids are exhausting, but they're great. Got him to stay another 15 minutes, guys. Let's go. Good night. Good night, Duja. Have a good week yourself. Keep the stream times in mind this week. Yes, and I'll throw up a post So that post should be available on my YouTube channel to remind and prompt that awareness as well. SCG says, sweet, see you, Brad. Bye, guys. And peace out to all of you. Oh, and Brave won the poll. 103 votes. Enigma in second place. Echo and Soul, very close. But Brave and then Enigma. There you go. All right, guys. Good night, everybody. Sleep well yourselves, and peace out. Now I have to get up and shut off the stream.